Yes, sir. Hello.
Subrat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Subrat. Everything fine. Tanuja, is it audible now? Audible?
Yes, sir, it is audible, but in between that white screen is coming. When I'm stopping the video.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so Subrat will take care.
Okay.
Morning, Tanuja. I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Very good morning, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure,
Okay,
sir,
but you're not audible. Your voice is very feeble.
Oh, okay.
No, okay. Yeah, it is audible, right? Yeah, fine,
Yes,
fine.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay, tell me when I should join. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Hi, Jiva. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Sir, your video is not visible, sir.
No, I'll put it on. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what about DDG has joined, Tanuja?
Sir, DDG sir is in an emergency meeting. He will join at 11:30. He told us. ADG sir will join, sir.
Okay, as soon as they join, let me know. Okay, please.
Oh, sure, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Madam, when will start, madam?
ADG sir has not joined now. After that, we will start.
The live streaming has started.
Okay. Okay.
Subrat, ICR song ready, no, Subrat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Good morning, Dr. Srivastavaji. Can you hear me? Yeah, this is Ravi Shankar here.
ठीक है, तो अभी वो जाएगा ना। हाँ 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 हाँ, ठीक है, दूध लेके जाएगा, फिर वो करने जाएगा ना कुरियर, उसी समय चले जाना बीजेपी नगर की तरफ।
Manganam, ADG sir has already joined.
क्या बोले सुब्रत?
Sir has already joined.
ADG sir?
Yes.
Okay. Director sir, shall we start? ADG sir has joined. Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir, namaskar,
Good morning,
sir. Ravi Shankar here.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, fine. Thank you.
सर
everything is
नमस्कार।
fine?
नमस्कार श्रीवास्तव साहब।
नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर, सबको नमस्कार।
सभी को नमस्कार CAFT से।
Sir, shall we start the program, sir?
हाँ मैडम, शुरू करें। यस प्लीज।
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you and welcome to the national webinar on evolving livelihoods for women in post-harvest fisheries, approaches, policies and institutional support, organized by ICAR Central Institute for Women in Agriculture, Bhubaneswar. I am Dr. Tanuja S, scientist, fish processing technology at ICAR-CIWA and the convener of the program. We will start the program with the ICAR song. Subrat, please play the ICAR song.
जय जरिषद भारत की सुखद प्रतीक हरित भारत की कृषि धन पशुधन मानव जीवन दुग्ध मत्स्य फल यंत्र सुवर्धन वैज्ञानिक विधि नव तकनीके पारिस्थितिकी का संरक्षण शस्य श्यामला छवि भारत की जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की। हिम प्रदेश से सागर तट तक मरुधरती से पूर्वोत्तर तक हर पथ पर है मित्र कृषक की शिक्षा शोध प्रसार सकल तक आशा स्वावलंबित भारत की जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की जय भारत की।
Thank you, Subrat. We all know that women accounts for about 50% of the workforce in fisheries and aquaculture, and they are the major workforce in the post-harvest fisheries sector. And yet, they face substantive challenges in benefiting equitably from the sector. But gender equality is important in achieving the sustainable development goals on poverty reduction and food and nutritional security. Hence, today's webinar is organized with the objectives to apprise the participants about the status and scope for women in fisheries, to emphasize the importance of building self-reliance among women in fisheries through entrepreneurial ventures, and to create awareness on the policies for promoting entrepreneurship among women. So I'll enter my duty to welcome all the dignitaries and the participants. So we have chief guest of the day is our Honorable DDG Sir, Education, Dr. R.C. Agarwal Sir. Because of an emergency meeting, he will be joining late. So now I am honored to welcome our ADG, Honorable ADG Sir, ADG Education, Planning and Home Science, Dr. P.S. Pandey Sir, to this function. Sir has been a guiding force of ICAR-CIWA and has been giving tremendous support and guidance for the betterment of the institute. I welcome you, sir, to the function. I feel extremely happy to welcome Chairman of the webinar and Director of the Institute, Dr. S.K. Srivastava sir, to this program. And I'm profoundly elated to welcome Dr. C.N. Ravishankar sir, Director of the three-time Sardar Patel Outstanding Institute Award winner ICAR-CIFT. He is with us to deliver the keynote speech. Despite his demanding schedule, he has accepted our invitation to deliver the talk on a very important topic. I welcome you, sir, to this program. We have amongst us the expert speakers from different fisheries institutes. I welcome Dr. Madam, Principal Scientist, Agriculture Economics, ICAR-CIFT, Dr. George Nainan, sir, Scientist, Principal Scientist and PI of the Agri-Business Incubation Center, ICAR-CIFT, Dr. Shyam Salim, sir, Principal Scientist, Agricultural Economics, ICAR-MFRI Cochin, and Dr. P.S. Ananthan, Senior Scientist, Agriculture Extension, ICAR-CIFE Mumbai, who have graciously accepted our invitation to share their immense knowledge and experience on the theme of the webinar. In fact, I feel very much privileged and honored to listen to all my teachers once again. I welcome all the participants, which include scientists and scholars, students from different ICAR institutes and SAUs, and I sincerely wish that today's deliberations will prove fruitful for their future research endeavors. Now, I request Dr. Lipidas Madam, Principal Scientist, Agriculture Extension, ICAR-CIWA, and co-convener of the webinar, to speak about the webinar. Madam, please.
Good morning, Tanuja. It's audible?
Yes, ma'am, but your video is not coming, ma'am.
Yeah, it's coming.
Video is not there, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So good morning, everyone, and most honored welcome to the most important webinar on fisheries and particularly on women. And the most respected Dr. P.S. Pandisa, who is our most beloved person or the most well-wisher of CIWA. He is the ADG, Educational Planning in Home Science, and our most the director, Dr. S.K. Srivastava, and our today's guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Ravishankar, the director of CIFT, and the esteemed speakers and my dear participants. So thank you, Tanuja, for organizing such a very important webinar on fisheries, evolving livelihood for women in post-harvest fisheries, approaches, policies, and institutional support. So as you know that we are going through a very challenging period, that is COVID-19. It's a pandemic, COVID-19. So let me say, sir, to all of you that fisheries and aquaculture continue to be an important, and that is a source of livelihood, food and nutrition and livelihood for the millions of the people, and especially for the women segment or the fisher. I think that is India is one of the largest fish producing countries in the world, and shares 7.58% to the global production. And it contributes to 1.24% of India's gross value added and 7.28% to the agricultural that is gross value added. And in particular in India, there are 1.5 million fishermen who are full-time involved in fisheries sector, and 1 million with part-time activities related to fisheries. And if you say the coastal states, women form 82% of the workforce involved in marketing and different activities. They are engaged in the different activities of the fisheries, and 88% of drying and processing, and also post-harvesting, and 89% of that is in shrimp grilling and pre-processing, and 51% of labor cost. So despite their immense role in fisheries, you can see that in agriculture, in dairy, animal science, and fishery, these are the three major agro-based or allied activities where women's contributions are immense. So, but their contributions are overlooked, and they have been undervalued and undocumented. They are not recognized, particularly say. And if we say that the impact of COVID-19, and what was the exact negative impact? So let me highlight here in this August, that is a very important webinar. So in AICRP, that is All India Korean Research Project in Home Science, we conducted two important studies that how this women segment, their coping strategy regarding during this COVID-19 period, or pandemic period, and what was the alternative, that is livelihood options for them. So really, this COVID-19 situation has turned a fisherwomen's or fishermen's life upside down. That is overnight, because they are less demand, consumer demand. That is, and also, especially, it's a significant negative impact to the women sector, who form the majority of the workforce in the post-harvest fisheries sector. So, in addition to, they face lot of challenges in fishery sector, or lot of constraints, maybe the technological hindrances, maybe the financial or technological support, lack of infrastructure, and of which really significantly impacting their demand and prices. So, because you know that during this COVID pandemic or COVID period, 19 period, also restaurants, also hotels, they have been closed, and that is seriously affected our fishing or fishery sector, because the consumers are less, the demand are also less, and which affect also that resulting in the loss of their livelihood. So in this context, sir, in Odisha also, let me highlight over here, as per the Director of Fisheries, 4,319 women self-help groups lost nearly rupees 14 crores, that is gross income. So this is, and considering all these facts or figures, we have decided to conduct a webinar on fisheries and women. What are the livelihood opportunities for the fisherwomen, in particular in post-harvesting? And as we have started our entrepreneurial model, because commercialization of our products is much more important than the production aspect for the women segment. And that is, the fishery, fish is a very crucial component in alleviating the poverty, and particularly in achieving greater food and nutritional security. So this could be possible to development of women and skill development, and that is the entrepreneurship development of the fisher women. They can be linked to the Atmanirbhar Bharat also, and this Atmanirbhar Bharat could be a reality if the 50% that is population, that is women segment, could be a part of our major policy decisions. Because in that context also, women can be access to different resources, that is your capital and markets, asset, technical assistance, and networks. So in this context, we are organizing this webinar with the three objectives, as Tanuja has already highlighted: to apprise the participants about the status and scope of women in fisheries, to emphasize the importance of building self-reliance or Atmanirbhar among the women in fisheries through entrepreneurial opportunities or avenues, to create awareness on the policies, programs, and recommendations for promoting entrepreneurship among women. So these are the three objectives. I hope will definitely come with a specific recommendation, particularly the women in fisheries or that is sectors, and we'll plan the future strategy or that is research program based on the recommendation. So all the very best. Thank you, Tanuja. I hope it will be a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Now I request Director Sir Dr. S.K. Srivastava Sir, ICAR-CIWA, Director, to give his opening remarks.
Thank you, madam. Most respected guest of the honor, Honorable Dr. P.S. Pandey Sahab, ADG Economic Planning and Home Science, ICAR New Delhi. Keynote speaker of this important national webinar, Dr. C.N. Ravi Shankar ji, and invited experts, Madam Dr. Nikita Gopal, Dr. George Ninan, Dr. Syam S. Salim, Dr. P.S. Ananthan, our own colleagues from CIWA, ICAR from Home Science, our friend Dr. Shivaji, he has also joined, and other fellow friends. and the persons who are watching through the YouTube. A very good morning to all of you, and I extend my hearty congratulations to the team who has proposed this national webinar, that is the need of the hour. As the topic of the national webinar is evolving livelihood for women in post-harvest fisheries, approaches, policies, and institutional support. So I would like to say, just you have listened and seen this ICR song. You have seen woman is there, fish is there. We generally tell मछली जल की रानी है, महिला घर की रानी है. So without महिला मछली का सर्वाइवल मुश्किल है, और without मछली सोसाइटी का सर्वाइवल मुश्किल है, because fish is going to great source for the protein supplementation in the society. So this is a webinar which has been planned at very right time, because we all are suffering from this pandemic 19 situation. Whole world is suffering, and this corona, although there was a problem, but in spite of this problem, this corona has also given some of the opportunity. The biggest opportunity is that we all are sitting from Kochi, from Mumbai, from Delhi, and we are available together on virtual mode on the digital platform. And once we have started to utilize the digital platform, we have been compelled to think differently and act differently and quickly also. Because initially when we were planning to some of the webinar, seminar, it was taking at least 1 month time. But nowadays, due to the digital media, within a week or within 15 days, we are able to plan one of the webinar. And in recently concluded meeting of the Directors Conference and Vice Chancellor Conference, Honorable DG ICR has also pointed out that each institute should conduct at least weekly one seminar or webinar. So in that way, we are proceeding through. As we know that we have to also address this national development goal and sustainable development goal to serve the society. In this backdrop, our this Ecripan home science has been also changed as Ecripan women agriculture, and this home science subject has been changed in the community science. It means that initially we have been focusing about the product, but now we have to focus on the community as a whole, because whatever we are doing, that is for the service of the society. And every time it is told that we are the public servant. We are government servant, but more properly we are the public servant. So we have to address the issues related to public, whatever the problem is being faced. And our Honorable ADG Sahab has been also emphasizing and stressing that whatever you are going to conduct or you are going to your research programs, you have to go for the solution mode, that what is the problem and what solution you are going to give. So this is the some of the things, and our national mandate, some of the national development global goals are that Sahi Poshan Desh Roshan. So in that way, this fisheries is going to play a most vital role. Then another program is $5 trillion in economy. Certainly, this entrepreneurship development is very much required for this empowerment of the women, particularly in the fisheries, as it has been narrated that about 50% population of the women in the fishery sector. So there is a need to promote them, support them. There are various policies of the government and various banks like this Annapurna and Sri Shakti package for women entrepreneur from SBI, Saint Kalyani scheme, this is from the central bank. Then Mudra Yojana. Under this Mudra Yojana, there are three parts: Sisir, Sisu, Kishore and Tarun. Then Mahila Udyam Nidhi scheme, Dena Shakti scheme, Orient Mahila Vikas Yojana, Bharatiya Mahila Bank business loan. Under this bank is providing 3 type of loan, that is Singrar, Pravaris and Annapurna. Then you all are aware about this Jan Dhan Yojana, then Make in India, and finally, and most especially, there is one special program for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and for the women entrepreneurs, that is the Stand Up India. Under this program, from 10 lakh to 1 crore rupees is available for the loan for the promotion of the entrepreneurship. So these are some of the government schemes. So government is also very much eager, and our Honorable Prime Minister every time is telling that whole world is our home, and we should think differently that and act differently, make local to local, and by that local it should be a global. So our vision should be a global standard, because you say nowadays most of the people are organizing this global seminar, international seminar, because reach has been become very easy. Initially it was very difficult, but through the digital platform this reach has been become very easy. So this is the time to utilize this facility and connect community, connect through the community as well as the global leaders and global speakers. So with this word, again, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to all of the invited experts and our ADG Sahab and keynote speaker of this important webinar, Dr. Ravi Shankar Sahab, and most beloved participants from the ICAR, ICAR-CIWA, and other institutions of the country. So thank you very much for joining us, and let us listen to over to Dr. Tanuja Madam.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Now I request our guest of honor, Honorable ADG, Education Planning and Home Science, Dr. P.S. Pandey, sir, to kindly address the audience.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
I think I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Very good morning to each and everyone. The esteemed director of the very prestigious Institute of Central Institute for Women in Agriculture, Dr. S.K. Srivastava. My very close friend, Dr. C.N. Ravisankar, director of Central Institute for Fisheries Technology. He is also there. Really, I am very much happy as a lead speaker, keynote speaker. So it's really a matter of pride. All the lead speakers, Dr. Nikita Gopal, Dr. George Ninan, Dr. Salim, Dr. Anantan, and I really, very important, the coordinator of our this entire program. So I am really very much happy that you have combined all our fishery institutes lead as a lead speaker. My dear faculties and staff of Central Institute for Women in Agriculture, Bhubaneswar, and all the participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am not able to see how many, very few participants are there, and I am not able to know what kind of audience we have at present in this webinar. And so with this, I really appreciate the effort of CIWA to have this kind of webinar on the post-harvest fishery. That is a very, very important post-harvest this fishery. Because as it was mentioned, the role of women is very, very important, and they are, of course, equally stakeholders. But at sometimes we have found that their domination is more and more in some of the sectors. And if you see fishery sector, really their job is very, very important. And their contribution and their equity is, I think, more, because fishermen, they simply go and bring the fish, but majority of the things they do, those women, they do, as far as the processing is concerned, as far as the also support in harvesting and other things. So this is a very, very important one. The role of gender is very, very important in case of fishery. If you see the this entire our pandemic period, during this pandemic period, the growth of agriculture is it has not come down. And this is not only when I talk about the agriculture includes the fishery sector also. It includes the dairy sector also. It includes the all sector, all the allied subjects of agriculture. And it's well sustained during this pandemic, though if you see the other sectors, they are highly affected and they are going down. And at the same time, you see the nutritional aspect, that is the when even the UN is also emphasizing everywhere. It is the global initiative how to provide the nutrition to this mass population of the entire world. And if you see the nutritional aspect, the fishery comes at a very important place. And that's why as far as the nutritional aspect is concerned, whether if you see the sustainable development goal for the nutritional aspect, so that becomes very, very important. And this is very right time that you have conducted this kind of webinar. And this is a very specific webinar, and this relates to the livelihood through post-harvest technology. The very, very important is the post-harvest. What kind of post-harvest approaches are there? What are the institutional support? What are the government support? And so you see that, so that is a very, very important one. If you see the fishery, because I am very much fond of fishery, I started my MSc thesis is on fishery only, with the 2 international publication from the inland fishery. I did some of the, developed some of the statistical application, how to get the proper estimate and efficient estimate for this inland fishery. So fishery is a very, very important one, whether it is the inland fishery, it is the marine fishery, both are equally important. And if you see the government initiative, government has taken a lot of initiative. A lot of initiative government has taken. And if you see the dream of our Prime Minister for this Atmanirbhar Bharat and $5 million this economy, without fishery sector, we cannot imagine. We cannot imagine. And that's why this is a very, very important one. And if you see the government initiative, a lot of centrally sponsored schemes are there. I would request the director of the institute, whenever we are conducting this kind of webinar, at least a person from the fishery sector, even the fishery ADG, if they are also involved, their contribution, their input is also very, very important one. And until unless we are able to make aware that what kind of schemes are there, whether it is the state government supported schemes, whether it is the centrally sponsored schemes, are both together. So that is a very, very important one. And if you see some schemes are 100% central government is sponsored, some schemes are under the certain 25-75 basis, and including and if you see the Fishery Development Board is also there, so they are also implementing various schemes. So what are the benefits? What kind of, because when I was going through the various schemes, I was going through n number of schemes. A lot of schemes are, and people are not aware at all. And I was very much, impressed that I could see this is not only the infrastructure development for fishery, but infrastructure development for the post-harvest fishery. So that is a very, very important one, and many people are not aware. So my request will be to make our stakeholders aware that these are the schemes and these are very important schemes. And if you see the state government also, there are various schemes and it starts from even a small to bigger schemes. And what kind of benefits are there? and what are the procedure of getting that kind of benefit. If we tell those our stakeholders and ultimate users, I think it will be very, very important one. The another aspect, if you see from the states in case of where the fishery is a very important component, like all the coastal states are there, and similarly if you see the Bengal, if you see the Andhra Pradesh, if you see the Kerala, likewise Karnataka, everywhere, all those states, so they have very strong base for the fishery sectors. And keeping in view, if you see that we have now an independent ministry for this one. So that is another aspect, keeping in view the importance and its demand. As far as human resource is concerned, I have seen that nobody after, in fishery sector, a lot of demands are there. And very, rarely you will get the good people in fishery. Otherwise, most of the time, not only in India, but abroad also, it's a very, very demanded subject. And fishery is having, n number of disciplines are there. Many people are not aware what kind of disciplines are there in case of fishery. So this is also very, very important one. So for if the demand is like that, also we should have a kind of a study, what kind of demand in fishery sector in different sub-components of the fishery that is required today. And keeping in view, if we are going to celebrate our 100 years of the ICR, or whether we are going to celebrate the 75 years of the India independence, what kind of requirement will be there as far as the fishery is concerned? If we come to that kind of human capital requirement, I think that will be very, very important one. Similarly, what are the areas where we need the capacity building? So that is also very, very important one. So this is and if you see some of the good initiatives that has been taken by our own institutes, I remember that Dr. Ravi Shankar, he was our PI of one of the business planning and development unit, and he has developed a very, a kind of world-class model, a corporate type of model for this BPT in his institute long back during 2012-13 itself, and it is well sustained. And what kind of they also provide from time to time the training for this post harvest and other things. So we should also map what kind of trainings are being provided across the country. CIWA is not working for a particular state, but CIWA is working for the entire country. They have to map that if fishery is concerned, these are the places where the capacity building program is being conducted. These are the requirement and these are the schemes, and where they can, so state-wise, if they are coming for that kind of the compilation, I think that will be more and more, very useful for our stakeholders and ultimate users. You take the example of, Haryana. The fishery demand was very, very low, but if you see with the interventions of our institutes, our CPA Institute, they have one center, and they have impacted a lot, and now the demand that has been increased there in that state also. So what are the opportunities for the future also? Likewise, also in other states also, can we plan that these are the models? Same Haryana model can be upgraded to other state also, and there possibility of employment generation, the possibility of the livelihood that we can also tap, and we can map that one, so that at least we can have an entire picture of the country, that these are the area where this much of the demand is there, these are the areas where demand is there but our supply is low, and there is a big potential. So that can be, again, that area can be chalked out. Similarly, if you see the seeds in case of this fishery, I have my own experience when visiting to some of the states. and I could see that a big demand of seed is there for the fishery, and the supply is very, very weak. The quality supply is not there. So there is a opportunity for to become an entrepreneur in that area, and people can start their own business. And so where they will get this kind of training, where they can get the capacity building, and once they go there, they can have this kind of a training, and once they come back, they can start their own program as far as the seed is concerned. And there are a lot of subsidies are also available in this kind of thing. Similarly, if you see the shrimp cultivation, there is a big revolution in the shrimp cultivation. So that kind of is it demanded in the other areas also, wherever in the state wise, that tapping that requires our attention, and certainly we should. And in that kind of demand and supply, what are the demand for our again you can apply your own gender, what kind of for the women, what kind of training, what kind of demand is there. So you can tap your own gender specific issues. So similarly, a lot of opportunities are there. If you see our schemes are there, but people, they are not able to harness the available resources. They are not able to harness the potential of our schemes. So my humble request will be, you see, yesterday we had one discussion with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. We wanted to have one community radio station in each and every agricultural university. And there is already a scheme by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, but we were not aware at all. When I approached to the ministry, then they told it is a scheme, and they have developed a very good, this video program, audio video they have developed, and they have put in the open domain in the YouTube. And once you go through that one, people can know that how to apply, who can get, what can get. So similarly, nowadays people, they are starting a small thing, putting on YouTube. They are making money also out of this one as a commercialized one. Can you have this kind of a small modules, a small things which are very, very important, but people are not aware at all. And if you put in this kind of domain, more people will be beneficial, and they will be really very happy to see that how we have to proceed, what we have to proceed, what are the minimum requirement, what are the government schemes are there, how benefit we can avail this one. So that way you can have this kind of the small videos also. So if you encourage your own students, that also is very, very important one. So if this kind of dissemination of our information, dissemination of our technology go to those people, certainly more people will be benefited, and ultimately will be able to achieve our goal of the schemes, and the main goal of the country for the nutritional security and other things also. So with this, I express my sincere thanks to the Dr. Srivastava and his team for inviting me, and compliment, and I wish all the best wishes for this very important webinar. But certainly at the end, I request the CIWA that whenever you are organizing seminar, this kind of webinar, you have to do little bit more, and that little bit more is how you are going to get registration of more and more people. It is not like that we are going to put on YouTube and YouTube people will come. They will be at least some 200, 300 people. So unless rigorously, if you do some exercise, nobody will come forward. And certainly, I request in the future program, you are going to do this kind of exercise so that many people can come, they can join, and they can take the advantages of this program. So with this, I will stop here, and thank you very much. Thank you everyone for this opportunity. Namaskar. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us and giving your valuable guidelines for the future programs and future strategies. And as we know that Pandey Sahab particularly holding this responsibility for these institutions, and he is sparing his valuable time. So as and when required and providing his suggestions. And certainly, sir, your suggestions have been very valuable to bring this institution in the limelight and further toward the upgradation of this institute as a global institute for women in agriculture. So thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Over to Tanuja, madam.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the importance of the sector and the future prospects that is waiting for the fishery sector, and what are the kind of interventions that is required for the gender mainstreaming, to bring about the gender mainstreaming in fisheries. And thank you for your blessing, sir. Now, we are all aware of the catastrophic effect that the pandemic COVID-19 has had and is having on the health and livelihoods of billions in the world. It includes the livelihoods dependent on fisheries also. We have amongst us Dr. C.N. Ravishankar, sir, Director ICAR-CIFT, who will be delivering the keynote speech on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the economies and livelihoods dependent on fisheries. His area of specialization includes fish processing and packaging, and has developed, popularized, and transferred more than 67 technologies to the fish processing industries. He has to his credit that he established the India's first business incubation center in the field of fisheries, and he has participated in the first Indian Antarctic expedition. Sir has published more than 260 international and national research articles, authored 7 books. He is a fellow of the National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, Association of Food Scientists and Technologists, and Society of Fisheries Technologists. He has received many awards for excellence in the field of fisheries science and entrepreneurship development. Now, without further ado, I welcome Sir to deliver the keynote speech.
Thank you, Tanuja. Hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, most respected Pandey Sahab. Of course, we are going to miss Agrawal Sahab and distinguished Director of the Institute, Dr. Srivastava ji. And a lot of my colleagues I can see. And of course, my own former colleagues, Tanuja and Jiva, Dr. Das. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to be part of this webinar. And my, again, namaskar to Pandey sir, because, we have a long association with him. Thank you, sir. And I was so happy when I saw both the names, Dr. Agarwal and Dr. Pandey sir. I don't know whether others are aware, when ICR started the incubation program, both Agarwal sir was also initially associated with that. Then Pandey sir took over, and we could, establish this business incubation program in many commodities across the country. And today we have a lot of success stories. So I must acknowledge the contribution, the help, support given by Dr. Pandey sir. Thank you so much, sir, on this occasion.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm happy to tell you, sir, we have a very close association with CIWA. Of course, our own colleague, my senior, Dr. Krishna Madam, was the director of the institute. And we have given 2 colleagues from here, Tanuja and Jiva. They were working in CIFT. Now they are with them. And we have been having a lot of association with CIWA especially. And on this occasion, I would like to compliment the institute, especially the director, Srivastava Sahab. Congratulate you and compliment you for doing wonderful, taking a lot of initiatives for empowering women. I think, my life has been made easy because all our earlier speakers, especially Dr. Pandey, the director, spoke at length. Even Dr. D.P. Das spoke at length regarding the importance of fisheries sector. And I think Dr. Pandey was right. Because of the importance of fisheries, the government, started a new ministry. The Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which is being talked about now, is going to give a great fillip to the whole sector. Because fisheries is going to be, I think compared to all the sectors, the growth fisheries had was tremendous. No other sector had such a growth that what fisheries had. And my talk, actually, I'm not specially talking on pandemic and all that, but one thing I would like to tell, when we spoke of, when we had this pandemic, when we are talking of all these issues with regard to COVID, one thing we realize, the fish is going to play a major role. We all know fish is the most healthiest food among all other food commodities. And when we are talking of, developing immunity, I think definitely fish is going to play a major role. Whether you talk of the nutritional security, we are talking of food security, we are talking of this pandemic. I'm definitely, the seafoods, the aquatic products, the seaweeds have tremendous potential in improving our immunity, the immunity boosting, so that we are ready to face any pandemics which are going to come in the future. So, you don't need all these vaccines or something. We need not depend on something else. We develop our own immunity. We become strong by taking healthy food. Definitely, fish is going to give a major boost to this, especially the nutritional security of the country. When we are talking of the malnutrition, undernutrition, when we are weak only, we get the problems of all this, whatever pandemic we are facing. So I'm sure fisheries is going to play a major role. That is the reason you see any state department. I fully agree with Pandey Sahab, because you see earlier the fish was consumed only along the coast. If you see the fish consumption, now you see the importance of fish in interior, inland areas. The amount of fish which, the production is increasing in inland blocked states like Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Bihar, everywhere. So much of impetus is given to the fish aquaculture. So that's because people are realizing the importance of fish in the human diet. Whatever micronutrients we are talking, everything, the balanced diet will be given by fish, seafoods. Okay. So that's why in the background, CAFT has been doing a lot of work. And I would like to assure both the director of the institute and Pandey Sahab, CAFT will be very happy to, collaborate with the institute, sir. We all fully agree. We all fully agree. The institute is getting great work, especially empowering women. So in that direction, we do have a lot of technologies which are for the women, which are of the, which can be easily adapted by women enterprises. And we have two of my colleagues also talking about our business incubation and also whatever gender issues, whatever work we are doing in this direction. Also, my colleagues will be sharing. So I'll not take more time. I would like to just share some of our thoughts, what we have been doing to the sector, and how we can work with CIWA in future, so that the technologies are spread across the country, so that the sector is benefited. Okay, when we are talking of giving so much of importance to the fisheries sector, the technology has to be customized, because the technology what is suitable for a coastal state may not be suitable for the interior state. And the fish product, what we, people eat in Kerala may not be acceptable in Orissa or Bihar. And I'm happy to tell you, sir, we, along with World Fish, CAFT is working for improving the fish consumption. See, if you read the consumption, the world average is 20 kilo, whereas we have around 6, 7 kilo, 8 kilos, which is, we have a long way to catch up. So where we need to improve the fish consumption by giving appropriate technology, by making fish available to everybody in the form which they like it. Okay, what we should understand the, what people need in each different states of the country. And accordingly, we have to customize the product for them. Otherwise, simply we can't force a product which is acceptable in Goa to the people of Orissa. So I think that way, CIWA and CAFT can work together with other fisheries institutes. I am happy that the CAFT is also there, CMFRI is there. So probably all the 8 institutes along with CIWA, we should work together in developing a suitable model for ensuring that fish consumption is increased. The technologies are disseminated to the different stakeholders in the country, so that we realize the blue revolution of our government of India, especially the Prime Minister of the country. So let me, with your permission, Pandey Sahab, let me share some of my slides. Yeah, yes. Hope you can see my slides, I believe.
Yes, yes.
Whether you can see my slide?
Yeah. Beautiful slide. I was waiting for this slide.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Can I start? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me I thought let me share some of the recent advances in the post-harvest technologies which can be, customized and refined for different section of the country. So first of all, let me quote a quote by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, first Prime Minister of the country. When women move forward, the family moves, the village moves, and then ultimately the nation moves forward. So that way, women entrepreneurship has been recognized during the last decade as an important untapped source of economic growth. Okay. So when we make women as entrepreneur, we can create jobs. We can give a lot of solutions. So when I'm talking of empowering women, the best way is to self-employment, making them capable of having their own enterprise. Okay. So that's how probably we can develop. When we develop women develop, actually the economy of the country also develop. And when I was just going through, if you see women entrepreneurship, if you see the global scenario, globally entrepreneurship rates among women increased by 13% versus only 5% for men. So you can see the tremendous growth. Okay. And this has been based on, they have done a survey based on the 40 economies around the world. So you can see the tremendous growth of women entrepreneurship. And it is also estimated that if at all gender parity existed, okay, if women were empowered, what we are trying to do today, our GDP would have increased multifold. Okay. So I think what we have to do is based on the, all this data, whatever we are seeing in the across the globe, what we need is, the growth, innovation, and the success mainly depends on the knowledge. So we have to give whatever knowledge we are available in the institutes, in many other fora, that has to be translated into women. We can make them, capable of standing on their own and taking this initiative forward. So that's why when we improve their entrepreneurship, definitely the whole economy will definitely increase across the globe. And what are the common business challenges faced by women entrepreneurs? Okay. If you really see, basically it is a culture value. Okay. Societal discrimination. Still, we are talking of empowerment, but still, many areas, still we have this discrimination. We feel they are not capable. Okay. Many people still look down at them. That is very bad, in this production context. And difficulty in sourcing finance and credit. Okay. And lack of investors' confidence in women, and limited access to business support and information. And they have to play a balancing role between business and family, because we all depend on them. Okay, for all our daily needs, we still depend on women. So balancing the business and family, that's a big challenge for them. So I think that is another area. And also stress due to competition and business routine. Okay, so these are all the challenges which a women face. So women entrepreneurship is seen as an effective strategy to solve the problems of rural and urban property. Okay, so recognizing this, many governments are coming forward for introducing many schemes which are women friendly. You take of MSME, you take of the Government of India initiatives, even the states. So they are building a lot of schemes for especially for women, to bring women to the mainstream economic development. I think this is all the need of the hour. So how to develop women entrepreneurship? Okay. First of all, we have to consider women as a specific target group for all developmental programs. It has to be inclusive growth. We can't, have them parallelly. They have to be inclusive into all our scheme. They should be involved in the whole process, from the problem identification, in developing a project, in implementing. I think the whole process has to be included by, women have to be included. And better educational facilities and schemes should be extended to women folk from the government part, which is happening. But I think still we need to strengthen this. And I think Dr. Pandey also spoke about the capacity building program, training program. I think we have to customize this training program and on management skills, and should be provided, women to be encouraged to form into a community or a self-help group. I think we should empower them, and they should be encouraged in decision making process, and vocational training to be extended to women. Okay, from production to consumption. I think there are a lot of facets of this business proposal. It is not just involve them only for production, but they should they should understand the intricacies of the whole business. The whole value chain, I think they should be included. The skill development to be done at the women's polytechnics, industrial training institutes, and the skills are to be put in training come production workshops and training on professional competence, leadership skills. That also should be extended to the entrepreneurs. I think these are all the areas where we need to strengthen. And if you see women in fisheries, you see, we should be happy compared to all other continents. You see whether it is Africa or America or Asia, you see the women employment. It is very happy to note that their involvement is very, very significant. Okay, in the primary sector, they are nearly 14%, and in the post-harvest sector, they are nearly 50%. So the Asia as a continent is doing very well in this. So this is the FAO statistics. And again, in women in fisheries, if you see, you see from bottom, you see whether the processing, there are enough people. Okay, when you go up the ladder, administration, they're becoming very, very less. Selling, marketing, again, small scale fishing. If you go to the management and the leadership, I think there are very few. I think that is where we need to strengthen them. If you involve them across all this value chain, I think they will understand the intricacies and they should be able to succeed. Okay. So according to the new policy published by the fish side, the female participants in the aquaculture and fisheries sector are likely to be hit by the negative impacts of COVID. I think this is where it's our responsibility to involve them and see that they are empowered. Okay, I think that's what I think, because especially in the primary sector, the seafood processing sector, the processing sector, where they are going to be getting affected. I think that's where we have to empower them, educate them, train them, improve their skills, and give whatever support is provided to be under the scheme. The state government, the central government should come forward to empower them. I'm happy that the women-centric webinar is organized by this institute so that we develop a strategy and share whatever outcome of this webinar to the state departments and the central departments, so that the appropriate schemes are modified. So in this background, what CAFT can offer? Okay, I don't have to tell you about CAFT. We are working for the past 62 years in the area of harvest and post-harvest. So this is the only technology institute which is catering to the harvest and post-harvest sector. We have 3 centers in Gujarat, Mumbai, and Andhra Pradesh. And we are the National Referral Lab, National Reference Lab. We have one of the best testing facilities in the country, accredited to ISO 17025. We are part of a lot of technology development, standard development for the country. And where all the areas we are working? See, we develop resilient fishing systems. Okay. When I'm talking of resilient fishing systems, it can be the craft and the gear. There again, women can take a major role, especially in, the small scale fisheries, the many traditional fishing technologies, fish, net manufacturing, vending. There are a lot of areas where women can be take enterprises. Okay. And CAFT can definitely handle them. And whatever utilized harvest fishery resources are there, responsible fisheries, employing green technologies for harvest and post-harvest, bioprospecting, the diagnostics, developing tools for, ensuring safety to the consumers, and ensuring green, responsible technologies in the post-harvest. When you're talking of aquaculture, country is booming with aquaculture, ensuring the biosecurity measures, ensuring animal health, and developing machinery, low-cost machinery, and HRD. These are all the areas CAFT is working. And if you see the technologies, it can range anywhere from the craft and gear for responsible fishing. And we are also, talking about the energy optimization, resource conservation, and value addition. When I'm talking of value addition, a lot of products and byproducts, high-value products can be done. Processing, packaging technologies. I think my colleagues will be talking more about it. I'll not go much into detail about this. And fish processing equipment, I am happy to share. I think CIWA has also taken one of our dryers. So maybe, we should, extend more collaboration in developing an appropriate machinery. I think, maybe we can involve other engineering institutes like from the Bhopal, from Ludhiana. We can develop appropriate low-cost machinery for the processing. When major processing, when you're telling of providing ready-to-eat, ready-to-cook, convenient product to the consumers, which are safe and of quality, machinery plays a major role. I think we should work together in developing this machinery. CAFT will be very happy to. And when I talked about the COVID, the background of pandemic, fish, can develop a lot of healthcare products, aquaceuticals, pharmaceuticals, a lot of nutritional products. That's what CAFT is working. We work in 7 divisions. In addition to that, we have regular specialized training. We give consultancy, analytical services. And as Pandey Saab said, we have a very successful incubation program, which we can extend across the country with the help of other institutes. And let me share a few of the technologies, okay? When I'm talking of post-harvest sector, if you're talking of value addition, when I'm talking of providing convenient product to the consumers, it can be battered breaded products, it can be extruded products, where we can have versatile products, okay? Then a lot of dried products, and the technology can be extended to other agro products also, and ready to cook, ready to fry products, ready to eat convenience product. It can be in the can, it can be in the pouch, it can be in the tray, okay? There are a lot of options. And many low-end technologies like pickle, cookies, wafers, chilled products, frozen products. All these technologies are very user-friendly. They are of low cost, that can be easily adapted. So these technologies can be, we can train entrepreneurs. Probably CIWA and CAFT can, have a joint training programs in the future. Now, because of the pandemic, we cannot come physically, but we are planning to have virtual training programs also. For that, now we are developing video modules. So probably in the in the coming days, we should be sharing all of this. And when I'm talking of high value byproducts, you see, we can develop, when I'm telling fish, when fish is highly nutritious, complete utilization of the fish is very important. But we are neglecting the waste, okay, so-called waste. But waste can generate a lot of high-value products. It can be feed, it can be foliar spray, it can be sanitizers, gel, fish meal, glucosamine, lot of industrial products, nutraceutical products, health products can be. Actually, I'm telling, some of these products can fetch more than what we get for an actual product, a filet RST. Okay. So these are all the technology we are talking. If you're talking of shrimp aquaculture, the chitin chitosan, the silage, when I'm talking of lifestyle diseases like, your
तो
arthritis.
लेफ्ट साइड में दुखती है, वो लेफ्ट साइड का डिब्बा उठाओगे उसमें नीचे है.
Are you not able to hear me?
मेरे लेफ्ट साइड में अलमारी में दुखती नहीं
Yes,
है.
sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
डॉक्टर श्रीवास्तव
Yes, sir.
साहब,
Yes, sir.
आप
You are
अपना
audible.
बंद करिए.
Okay. So when
पूरा
I'm
अलमारी
talking
का
of
पल्ला
lot of these
उठेगा
high value byproducts which can be easily
ऊपर को.
adapted, the technology is perfected. Only the problem in the country is the waste is not, collection is not organized. Okay. We need to handle the waste also in a proper way. It has to be chilled immediately. It has to be stored properly. It has to be transported. But we are able to address those issues, improving the cold chain. Definitely, we can have a lot of these products. You can see there are a lot of, again, continuing high value byproducts. From the seaweed, there are so many products. From the fish bean, we can have calcium. We can have collagen peptide, hydroxyapatite, a lot of applications in the periodontal application, dental application, lifestyle diseases, gelatin, collagen, squalene. I can go on talking about so many of the high value byproducts. All these, can be converted into a very commercial, successful enterprise. So there are a lot of options. I'm not going to particularly each product. And when I spoke about the equipment, you see the dryers. When we are talking of dryers, there are a lot of hybrid dryers, solar dryers with electrical backup, LPG backup. It can be even biomass dryers. So CAFT is extensively working on new age dryers like infrared dryers, tunnel dryers. Actually, I would like to share with you, under the World Fish, we are establishing some 10 tunnel dryers across the self-help groups in Orissa now. Already we have identified the sites. The equipment is already ready. So we are going to soon introduce these tunnel dryers in Odisha, basically for intervention studies. Okay. So what we are trying to do is we are developing some of the products like fish powder and some of the fish popper and few of the products where we want to have intervention studies in undernourished children. Okay. And actually, it is as part of the World Fish Project. We want to across have a first 1,000 days of the children, lactating women, pregnant women, and the malnourished children. So that's where we are going to do this intervention. So the first pilot study is in Orissa, which we are going to, replicate in other states. So we have taken a 5-year project. So this will be done in Assam, Manipur, Karnataka, Kerala, and Orissa. So in the first phase of the 5 years. So maybe after this success, we should be, replicating in other states. And, when I'm talking of dryer, we are also talking of electrical dryers and this fish vending kiosk. We know the fish is being sold on a roadside unhygienically. And in many areas, smoked fish are very popular. The fermented fish are popular. So all these technologies available, I think that has to be validated in the field, that has to be customized. Okay. And, when fish is healthy, at the same time, there are a lot of contaminants are, we are talking about formaldehyde contamination, ammonia contamination. People are now using hydrogen peroxide, okay, sodium benzoate. So many things are people are talking about. And I'm sure 2 years back, there was a huge cry about the formaldehyde contamination and ammonia contamination. So CAFT came out with a rapid testing tools to identify this, so that now, after that introduction of our strips, now last year we did not have any, report of this contaminants coming in the market. So CAFT is working in developing freshness indicators, testing kits, freshness dot. That is another, in the packed product, we are introducing a paper-based strip. It will tell you whether fish is still edible or not. Okay. We are talking of time temperature indicator. Fish is highly perishable. It has to be stored at low temperature. If there is any temperature abuse, the fish will spoil. So we have developed, based on a nanotechnology, we have developed a time temperature indicator, which we are already doing the field validation. It will be soon introduced into the market. At the same time, we are talking of packaging, intelligent packaging, smart packaging. We have introduced scavengers, emitters. These are all the technologies where we want to ensure a quality and safe fish to the consumers. So all this can be validated in the field and implemented to the different states. In addition to that, we have eco-friendly effluent treatment plants. We are giving design for the fish retail outlets, fish vending kiosk. Okay, we have already done it in a couple of states, which we are going to replicate to other states. We are actually working with all the states under the PMMSY scheme, so that all these technologies can be a reality. Okay, and I would like to share with you, we are giving technical advice in establishing hygienic fish stalls. Okay. Fish is, when we always say, when we go to the fish market, people are having aversion to enter the fish market because of this smell. Because, the fish waste is, simply scattering there, allow it to rot. So that's what is, giving a bad picture about the fish consumption. Why fish consumption is not increasing? People have aversion about the smell. People have difficulty in, consuming fish because of this bones in the fish. I think we should develop a hygienic market where, like any supermarket. Okay, you can see that in many states already, in Karnataka, in Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, already new age fish vending kiosks have come. I would like to share some of this. So we are empowering them, giving training, and some of the products which are coming through our business incubation program. Nainan will be talking more about this, and I would like to specially tell about this fish vending kiosk. This is very cost effective. It's only costing around 60,000. It is refrigeration enabled, where fish is kept in a closed container. People can see the fish. And now we are working with integrating with solar energy. Okay. If it can be embedded with solar, this can be kept on the roadside. You have a small canopy, you have a solar panel on the top, and refrigeration enabled through solar, and fish can be sold in this. People can see, and it is integrated with a scaling machine, where the scales can be removed, cut, and provided to the consumer. And this actually Kerala government is already introducing in the state. We are popularizing through the NFDB already. We have demonstrated this to NFDB. Department of Fisheries, Government of India is also evinced interest in this. So this is the one technology: dryer, fish vending kiosk, improving the markets. These are all the things I think we should be working across. So these are all some of the technologies. In the short time, I thought I'll not be able to speak much. So I'm just introduced some of this. So before I end up, I would like to again show you what we can offer, okay, to the consumers, what all value addition we can do for the fish, okay. See, it can be live fish, fresh chilled products. You can see the, this way we can present it. Then in case of ready to cook, ready to fry products, there are a lot of options. It can be modified atmosphere packed, it can be vacuum packed, it can be sous vide packed. There are a lot of options, it can be done for shrimp, fish. Many products can be done. When we present attractive product to the consumer, people will be happy to buy. Okay. At the same time, when it is packed hygienically, people will be sure that it is hygienically packed, it is safe to eat. So that's why I think we have to demonstrate. All these technologies are already field trial. Trial is done. They are easily adaptable. And it can be frozen product. You can see, you can have a frozen product, a fillet, it can be steak, it can be anything. Okay. These are all convenient products. It can be ready to cook, ready to fry, and ready to eat. And you see the battered breaded products. It can be fish fingers, it can be cutlets, it can be kebab, so many things. We are only talking of chicken, meat. They're all not very healthy, all the junk foods. But whereas we can supplement with high quality fish, which is highly nutritious, okay, which is balanced, you see, so attractive. Then you talk of specialty products. It can be shrimp-based product, it can be skewers, it can be nobashi. A lot of options. You see, we are not talking of export products, okay? These are all can be for the domestic market. See, domestic market is a huge potential in the country. I think we should be introducing all these products. It can be surimi-based products, for the low-value fish. You can take the meat. It can be made into a minced fish block. From this, we can make all these attractive products. It can be specialty product. It can be momos. It can be soup. It can be sausages. It can be patties. Okay. It can be wafers. It can be burgers. All these can be done. These are all the products. What we are showing is what we are developing in our incubation program for the entrepreneurs. Okay. And lot of innovation. You have to be, the product has to be eye-catching. When you go to the supermarket, people should be attracted to the product. So it has to be, a product should be innovative. It has to be creative. And it has to be packed properly. Okay. That's where we lack. Okay. Where we lack is we don't present our product. We are not creative in that. I think that's where we have to improve. Then consumption automatically increases. Okay. If I'm talking of ready to eat convenient product, you see, there are a lot of options in can. It can be pouches, it can be jars, it can be glass jar, it can be flexible pouches. Okay. So these are all the options. It can be even combination meal. You have rice and fish curry. I'm sure, in the Bengal, Orissa, and all the people like fish curry and rice. So you can provide a twin pack of rice and fish curry. Okay, it can be bapa, it can be jhol. Okay, all these curries can be packed into a tray. It can be packed into a can. It can be packed into a flexible pouches, and it can be given to the consumers. Okay, I think initially, long back, we did work with the CIWA. We had developed some of the cuisines of Odisha and Bengal also. So that can be implemented. And it can be a lot of extrusion, okay? You can extruded product, because children like extruded product, okay? We can incorporate fish into that. And fish doesn't like, when some of the people may not like the smell. So what we can do, we can include it. These products can be made into different age group of people. If it is for aged people, we can have it, a diabetic food, okay? With less glycemic index. On the right, you can see dry fish, so, a retail outlet. It is as good as, selling dry fruits. See, that's what we are talking of, the domestic marketing. And, ethnic products, especially if you go to Northeast, Shidal and so many fermented products are there. If you go to Lakshadweep, you have masmeal. The problem is, they're not accepted elsewhere because they're not hygienically packed. Okay. The packaging is not good. The storage life is not good. If you can improve the keeping quality, if you can improve the packaging, there is going to be a huge, tremendous market. So these are all the technologies which I would like to share with you today. And anybody interested, especially CIWA, I think we can have joint programs. Okay. And in addition to all these technologies, I told you, CAFT can work in setting up a hygienic fish market. We can give you designs of establishing fish processing plants, especially in the inland areas, and effluent treatment plant, cold storage facility, setting up of laboratory, okay, because we have the best facility here. We can help you in, because only when you give an assurance, confidence to the consumer, the product is safe to eat by testing it, by making it sure that it does not have any antibiotic, it doesn't have any contaminants, okay. So we can help you in setting up the laboratories. So we can give you training, we can give you entrepreneurship, okay, through our incubation program, we can help you. We can give you analytical services. So as a package, CAFT can help you in anything from harvest to post-harvest. Okay. So that's all I wanted to share today. So if anybody is interested, they can always contact us. Thank you for the opportunity to given to me. Let me unshare this. Okay. Hope it was because of 20 minutes, I could not speak more about the technologies. But, this is only the beginning where we are talking of collaboration. And being in North India, in the Orissa, so we cannot reach, being in Cochin, we don't have a center in anywhere in the northern part. So hand-holding, joining hands with the institute like CIWA, spreading our technology, improving the skill development program, taking this technology to different people, refining the technology, all that CAFT will be very happy to do. Okay, once again, I would like to thank Srivastava sir for this opportunity, inviting CAFT to share some of our experience with you. Once again, thanks to Pandey Sahab. Maybe two of my colleagues are also there. They will be sharing more about this. So it's an opportunity for CAFT also to showcase our technology. We'll be very happy to work with you. Okay. Thank you so much. And if you have any query, I can always be happy to share.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice and elaborative presentations. And this was a mind-blowing presentations, and it has opened our eyes that you are working from the local to national level as well as the global level. So this should be the vision. That is the vision that is being appealed by the Honorable Prime Minister of our country, that we should think about the global. So certainly it was very nice presentations, and we have also with Dr. Pandey Sahab. I would like to request that Pandey Sahab may like to tell something.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Very, very lucid and very, impressive presentation just now you have seen. And this is the way to win the race. This is the way to attract the people. And this is the finally we have to learn how to attract people to get our technology. You see, how from waste to wealth. That is a very, very important one, and which is the now need of the hour. And I do hope that based on this presentation by Dr. Ravi Shankar, I am very much sure that Institute will take another initiative and recommendation out of this deliberation, that what will be the role of now CIWA, a different role in augmenting all these things based on the existing model, and take their success stories, successful models. And I have personally visited that institute, and I have seen many of the things are there which we can have a collaborative program, and we can do a good wonder as far as women in fisheries are concerned, or as far as women in agriculture are concerned. So you see the various, even machinery, and already that Tanuja, she is already working, and you have the engineer, you have the fishery person. So all together, this institute, the equipment which is the most, demanding for the women, that also you can devise. And the packaging technologies, those can also be taken, so that at least you can upscale those technologies at your place. So I'll be happy that after some time, if you'll come with the news that we have made out of this, deliberation, we have made this new initiative, and we have come up with this kind of entrepreneurship livelihood. Now I got 2-3 ideas from this Dr. Ravi Shankar presentation. Now from next time, because I have a separate scheme for the tribal development, for scheduled caste development, this time I will be going to invite dedicatedly only schemes for the women. In the coastal area, I'll invite for the SC people, similarly for other people, so that at least for the women in the fishery, women in other sectors, for the packaging, and will certainly support them to establish this kind of a small units for their livelihood. So one thing I have taken already, and which is going to be implemented, it may be implemented before March also. I now started my, this clock has started to work on that direction. So already that we have taken initiative, but please bring some of the recommendation out of this, presentation. What do we have to do? Because many things he has shared, and very good, success models he has shared. So please bring those models which are applicable in different scenarios, in the different systems. So that will be fruitful out of this program. Thank you very much, Dr. Ravi Shankar Saab. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको.
Thank you, sir. I would like to tell you one more. I think some 10 years back, we had a project, me and Nikita, with CIWA. We had done some initiative in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, I think Maharashtra. It was a network project, ICAR network project. When Dr. Krishna Srinas was there, we had done some initiative. I think that should be strengthened, sir, some more. I think I'm very happy that you are going to introduce some scheme for women, especially, and definitely it will be very welcoming sign, sir. Definitely, and the CFT will be very happy to hand over.
I request Dr. Srivastava, Dr. Srivastava sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please formulate a project as far as it is possible. But make it very soon with the only exclusive for the women with the coastal area. Make it for the, because under our scheduled caste scheme or
Yes,
tribal scheme, let us make at least, let us make this take the help and support from the this SIFT and other institutions also, and we can have a very good collaborative schemes. We'll support with the universities also.
Okay,
take help from the university, because university they have also centers, so we can easily give funds to the university as well as to CIWA, and same thing from our institute SIFT also.
Sir, one thing I would like to tell you, those initiatives, little difficulty what we had was, when we formed into a group, we gave some implements, okay, and they were doing well. But the problem is the land, and every state, the local government keep changing. Then they have a little politics there. Okay, we form into a group. I think we should, that is sort of, I think maybe Nikita will share in her presentation. Those bottlenecks have to be addressed, because, some implements we have to give it to them. A small table, a small, mincing machine. It may not be costing much, small sealing machine.
Let us think in this direction based on the.
And also, one more thing, sir, the director Srivastava Sahab, you also have to build in some contingency amount for them to sustain for some year, at least 1 year. Buying some packaging material. You can't expect them to start making profit in the beginning. So at least for 1 year, we should handhold them, give some money for their, contingency, day-to-day, some working capital. Then, you can link them to the market, then they will take on. So I think maybe we will share some of the bottlenecks of our first initial project, so that can be taken account into when they make a new project. I think Sham Salim is also there. He also has experience in some of the working with women groups. So Nikita, Dr. Sham Salim, and we will be definitely see that this, whatever you are thinking of dream project should be successful. And we can replicate and emulate in next following years. So I'm very happy that you raised it, sir. Thank you.
Now Didi Sahab also, he has also joined. So you can have this one.
Sir, namaskar, sir. Agarwal sahab. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar. How are you?
Namaskar, Dr. Sahab.
Namaskar.
Sir, namaste, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you all.
So, friends, our Honorable DDG and Chief Guest of the function has joined now. So, before going to the next program, that is the technical session, sir, just now we have completed the keynote speech that was delivered by our Honorable Director, Dr. C.N. Ravi Shankar Sahab, from Director ICAR-CIWA, and he has given very nice presentations and excellent presentations, and he has opened our eyes, and particularly for the scientists, that what way that ICAR-CIWA should plan their activities from local to national and from national to the global. So that is a demand of the hour. And Dr. Ravi Shankar Sahab has also explained that there is a lacking in the innovation of the post-harvest products. So in that way, we are thinking and to join the hands in some of the projects through CIFT, because our women are always innovative, and innovation is coming from mostly from the women side. So this institute can may play a major role at the national level as well as global level in post-harvest technology for the innovation point of view, especially for the packaging of the product and in attractive modules and which can be sold at a global level, ready to eat, all those things. So I would not take much time because sir is very busy, and we are really, sir, very happy, and it is very good that you have joined with us. So now I would like to request our honorable chief guest, and he is also the chief patron of this national webinar, to kindly deliver, sir, your address, sir. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Srivastav. And thanks to Dr. Ravi Shankar, my colleague Dr. Pandey, Dr. Lipi Das. I think there are many persons from CIFT, CMFRI, CFA, and all the senior faculty, the fellow participants in this workshop. It's indeed a great pleasure to be part of such deliberations where it's a one-way traffic, where you learn more than you talk. So it is more of a learning for persons like us who are not much aware about such sectors, fisheries sector, what have been the effect during this COVID on the, especially on the livelihood of the women who are involved in this fisheries, or the fisher women, you can say. And the kind of livelihood and the kind of support they provide for the agriculture GBA, that is really again praiseworthy. I think you have written around 7% they contribute towards the agriculture GBA. So that's really something very encouraging. So we need to put more focus to keep the gender balance. And for that, you have this excellent webinar, where I think you can have the deliberations from all these institutes who are our who are playing the lead role in this fisheries sector, whether it's a marine fisheries, whether it's a technologies, or whether it's a education, whatever is there. So that's really something good which we are looking for. And we are looking for some kind of concrete recommendations so that we can take all such things at the ground level. Many things we just talk, but then after talking, we just forget. So that I really don't like all such things. Today morning, I had a meeting with the seed industry, and there was a, it was on our request only that the seed industry wanted to have that particular discussion, the Federation of Seed Industry of India. So we want to have the public-private partnership in the education field. So how the persons from the seed industry can be inducted, can have the some seats reservation for them in PhD, MSc or UG programs. Now, similar kind of thing can we have for the fisheries education? Can we have some public-private partnership with the industry who is involved in this fisheries sector? And that really, then once we have some kind of agreement, then really we want to have the practicability, the implementation of that. Because you see, there's a lot of support now by the government for the public-private partnership. And you cannot succeed, you cannot have the real implementation at the ground until unless you take along with you the private sector. And when I say private sector, that means in all fields, in education, in research, in the extension programs, wherever you can have. And through this webinar also, I am sure you will have some kind of recommendations which can give us some directions to implement these things at the ground level. I think we are making a lot of reforms now. I can say this is a year of reforms. Some reforms, they were forced because of this COVID, like we are using this online tools. Now everybody is very comfortable with these virtual meetings and virtual kind of actions, whatever is required. So it is something which we have to adopt, and now we are comfortable. Now, similarly, there has been a new education policy. So some reforms we because of this new education policy, and there the thrust is how best you can create more entrepreneurs, and how best you can take the industry along with you, how best you can have a close linkage with the industry. So all those things we have to take along, and I think keeping all those things in view, not only this, but you can also see the government policies which are coming now, whether it's a doubling farmers' income. When you say doubling farmers' income, that doesn't mean it is only in the field of agriculture. It also includes the fisheries. It also includes the animal science. So in every field, we have to think how best we can take advantage of these technologies. Our organization, CIFT, has done tremendous work in this technological field. And many of them I know personally, because I have visited this center many times. But still, we have to see that nobody is left behind. So whatever technologies we have got, it's not the work of ICR to take it to the end user. The ICR work is only to do the research and to do some kind of hand-holding with the persons who can take the license and can really go for mass production or can go for the ultimate all farmers. So that kind of arrangements we have to really see. We should not leave anything at the pilot level. Many things, and that's what I keep repeating in all the institutes, many things we just leave at the pilot level. We say, sir, we have adopted in 100 villages or in one district, 2 districts. I can say even if you have one technology which can be adopted at the national level, I think that is the biggest distribution instead of having 1,000 technologies which are all in pilot level. I was just seeing the mobile apps, and I have committed to our minister also that we will have one mobile app, but that mobile app we will develop in such a way that it is at the national level use. It becomes viral at the national level. Instead of having now, presently we have 250 mobile apps, and everywhere we show the figure, we have developed 250 mobile apps. In fisheries also, I think there may be some mobile apps. But once you see their downloads, somebody will say that there are 500 downloads, 1,000 downloads, 10,000 downloads. What is 10,000, 1 lakh download? Nothing. There should be millions and millions of downloads. And then everybody in that field should be using that. So those kind of things, really we have to think beyond your boundaries. Okay. And until unless you think in that direction, so that it really becomes a public talk that, okay, the CIFT has developed this, CIWA has done this thing for the women farmers, or this particular institute, CMFRA, has done this thing, so which is really extensively used. Then you see the impact of ICR, impact of our policymakers, and the kind of investment you can then get from everybody. So everybody will be after you. Instead of you being after the finance ministry for getting the funds, the finance ministry will come to you. A lot of other departments will come to you. Yes, now we want to do this thing through this department, through ICR, through this particular institute of ICR, because they have done wonders. So until unless we think in those directions, I think that will be very difficult to sustain, because you see the government policies are now to have maximum governance with the minimum government, and that implications probably you people are not knowing of that. I have seen, and DRDO, they have already closed 10 offices, and they have been merged with the existing other offices. Okay. So they want to have minimum directors, they want to have minimum finance, administration, and maximum research. So that situation should not arise in other departments. If you show your visibility, if you show your presence, I think we can really overcome this. Otherwise, that particular motto has been given to all departments that please go for the maximum governance through the minimum government. And in that direction, I think we are moving ahead. We are doing a lot of good things. If you see at the headquarters, daily a new document is being submitted to the PMO. Just on Saturday, whole day we had a meeting about the outreach programs. Okay. And the outcomes of ICR. So that document has been submitted now, and it will be extensively reviewed by the PMO. The technologies, other things. So very closely it is being monitored. And in that direction, I think this is a very timely seminar, and this will
Some
really
sound
help
is coming. Please mute.
our fisheries women.
Aldehyde.
We can be sure that we will come out with some recommendations which we can take up and can put up the policymakers for their kind adoption. So thank you, Dr. Ravi Shankar, also for giving this keynote address. Thank you, Dr. Srivastav. Thanks to everybody who is involved in this. Thanks to my colleague from the headquarters, Dr. Pandey. And thanks to everybody else who is involved in this particular. And I wish you good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir. I would like to thank you personally because, you know, the incubation program which we started, which you gave a lot of support along with Dr. Pandey. We are doing a very good work, sir. Our success rate is very, very good. We have graduated a lot of entrepreneurs and many products are in the market. And I fully agree with you, sir. We should, you know, spread it across the country. Definitely will take this initiative. On this occasion, I would like to thank you for all the support you gave it to us, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, Honorable DDG Education, Dr. R.C. Agarwal, sir, for joining us despite his busy schedule. Sir has given time for us to be the chief guest of the day. And he has always given special importance to fisheries in all his speeches. Whenever he has come to our institute, sir has always given a special importance to fisheries. And thank you, sir, for motivating us. And I thank Dr. Vishankar, sir, also for his very crisp and very informative presentation that he has given. And I thank you, sir. Sir, I have learned a lot from you. Of course, it was a short career in CIFT, and of course, during my student career also, I've learned a lot from you. And I would like to the path of developing women entrepreneurship through value-added fish products in Odisha also, taking cue from ICAR-CIFT only. So thank you, sir. So now shall we move on to the next speaker? Now we have amongst us Dr. Nikita Gopal, Madam, Principal Scientist, Agriculture Economics, ICAR-CIFT. She is rightfully called as a gender expert in fisheries. For the past several years, Madam has been actively engaged in gender research in fisheries and aquaculture and has worked on women in seafood processing sector, in small-scale aquaculture and fisheries, and in marketing and other post-harvest activities. In association with NACA, she has worked on a project on gender in aquaculture in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos, and is currently coordinating a project on gender and seaweed aquaculture operation in India and Kenya. She is a senior leader and vice chair of the Gender in Aquaculture and Fisheries section of the Asian Fisheries Society and has received the AFS Gold Medal, AFS Merit Award, and the AFS Certificates of Appreciation for a contribution to gender research and for organizational role in the GAF events. I welcome Madam to deliver the lecture on gender in fisheries, the present status and future roadmap.
Nikita, you're not audible. Yeah. No, you're not audible.
You're not audible.
Nikita, you're not audible. Tanuja, maybe if she's not able to, she has to quit and again join back. That will be, sometimes it will work. Meanwhile, you can have the next person to speak, I think. Okay,
Okay, sir.
it's up to you. Okay.
Okay. So shall we move to the next speaker, Director sir?
Yes, yes, madam, sure.
So Nikita madam, she's facing some problem in joining. So now I welcome Dr. George Nainan sir, Principal Scientist, ICAR-CIFT. He's a scientist in fish processing technology, and he's also the Principal Investigator of the Agribusiness Incubation ICAR-CIFT, which has bagged the award for the best agribusiness incubator. He has 23 years of research experience in the field of fish processing technology and has many awards to his credit, like the Jawaharlal Nehru Best Thesis Award, Best Young Scientist Award, Best Research Paper Award, etc. He has handled many ICAR funded and externally funded projects. The ABI of ICAR-CIFT has handholded the development of many entrepreneurs, like the director of ICAR-CIFT, Dr. Ravi Shankar sir, has said. Both men and women include, and he will be the best person to speak on the role of agri-incubators in promoting entrepreneurship among women. So I welcome you, sir, to kindly deliver the lecture on women startups in fisheries and the role of agri-business incubators.
Thank you, Dr. Tanuja. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are
Can
audible.
you hear me? Thank you very much. So good afternoon, respected Director CIWA, DDG Education, Director CIFT, and dear colleagues. Thank you for inviting me to deliver this lecture on the role of agri-business incubators in fisheries, and especially for the women startups. So I will share my screen. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay. So I have I think I have some 20 minutes to talk on this subject, that women startups in fisheries and role of agribusiness incubators in general. So in this lecture, I will just brief you about the activities of agribusiness incubator center for the entrepreneurs, and that covers the women entrepreneurs also. And as a agribusiness incubator, as a pioneer agribusiness incubator in the sector, fisheries sector, what CIFT incubator has done for the startups and also for the women startups. And this will be my main theme of presentation. In fact, our director has already talked about the technologies and other what CIFT is capable of doing. What are the technologies available? What are the commercialized technologies? Which all areas we work. So I am not going into details of the technologies available and all these aspects. I'm going to tell you about the mechanism of tech transfer and other commercializations and how we help the startups and women entrepreneurs especially. So this will be my theme of presentation. So with that, I will start. If in my presentation, if some disturbance coming, you please tell me so that I can rectify it. Now I think I am audible and clear to you. Okay, I can continue.
Yes.
Okay. You know, nobody, because so many people must have talked about the importance of fisheries sector. So it remains the important source of food and nutrition and income and livelihood to hundreds and millions around the world. And it is one of the most traded food commodities worldwide. This fish is supposed to be one of the most traded food commodities. And we have the fish assets, and fish products contribute significantly to the food and nutrition security for a global population, which is expected to reach 9.7 billion by 2050. So if you take the fisheries sector in general, the global trends, if you take the major importers, you see USA and Japan. Can you hear me?
Some
Okay.
sound is coming. Subrat, some sound is coming. Please mute. Except
I think kindly others mute. There is some Atu for Raghu. I think please.
You can hear me now, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. The major exporters you see China, Norway, Vietnam, Thailand, and main commodities you can see salmon, trout, shrimps, ground fish, tuna, fish meal, fish oil. These are major commodities. The fisheries sector, this is the global trading trends as far as fisheries is concerned. And as far as our country is concerned, we rank third in fisheries production, second in aquaculture. And in our sector, which has alone employed almost 145 million people and contributes to 1.07% of the GDP. As far as global per capita consumption is concerned, in India, the consumption pattern is around 8 to 12 kg, whereas the global per capita consumption is around 20 kg. And if you see the disposition of fish catch is concerned, so mainly it is disposed as fresh. It is marketed as fresh. Then freezing contributes to almost 9%. And most of our export product was frozen products. Then you can see almost 5% comes for curing and dried traditional products. You have a small percentage, around 3% go for reduction purposes, fish meal, fish oil. About 1% goes for canning and other related processes, and rest of the 5% go for the miscellaneous purposes. So this is in a general how fish is being traded as a commodity and what are the trends in fish production and what is as far as India is concerned, where we stand in fish production and related activities. So now our concern is to how to make an entrepreneurship out of this business of fisheries. So what are the ways we can start with? And herein I want to give you a brief idea about what ICAR is doing in this sector to promote entrepreneurship, what were our programs, and what are we doing now, right now. So if you see entrepreneurship development in fisheries sector, see, we know ICAR is the apex body. So we institutionalize the concept of techno-entrepreneurship through National Agriculture Innovation Fund schemes. And we created many novel agricultural ventures through this NAF and nurtured through appropriate interventions, incentives, and investments. So we have various programs under the NAF scheme. So it is mainly reinforced to protect the innovations IPR generated, and it was able to transform the agri-business incubation centers as a hub of technology transfer. So this NAF scheme basically contributed towards the development of IP environment in ICAR, and all its institutes were empowered to handle technology management activities. So we have an apex body of institute that IPTM, Intellectual Property and Technology Management Division ICAR. The middle tier of this mechanism constitutes about 10 subject-specific zonal technology management centers for facilitating public-private partnership, in which it is subject-specific. We have ZTMC, Zonal Technology Management for Center for Fisheries, and ZTMC Fisheries is managed by ICAR-CIWA, wherein we coordinate the activities of the 8 fisheries institutes under fisheries. So the zonal centers are basically interested in the promotion of technologies, and also we have the IPTM division. And right now, ICAR has almost 50 agri-business incubators in various institutions during the past 10 years. In fact, the concept of agri-business incubation establishment was started in ICAR in 2015, and we were one of the first agri-business incubators to be established in fisheries in ICAR-CIWA. And from 2015 onwards till 2020, we had almost 26 ABAs. After that, we added 24 more. Now we have almost 50 agri-business incubation centers. And we have agri-business incubation units in almost all fisheries institutes except a few institutes. And we are doing this activity of promotion of entrepreneurship and also technology transfer. So apart from that, even in ICAR Institute, we have technology business incubators sponsored by DST. And also, even if, for example, we have at NAM, we have the TPA, we have NDRI, we have the TPA. So apart from that, we have the institutional mechanism also, the Institute Technology Management Unit. So for better management and speedy process of IP protection, technology transfer, and commercialization. So this is in a nutshell how the ICAR promotes the entrepreneurs development through the specific agri-business incubation program, which comes under National Agriculture Innovation Fund program. So we, apart from that, we also have a company, non-profit, a profit company called Agri Innovate India, again, owned by Department of Agriculture Research and Education, and which act as an effective interface between ICAR, TMCs and ABS NDs on one side, and stakeholders on the agriculture sector on the other side. In fact, AGIN helps us a lot in technology commercialization, especially for the especially all our overseas clients for technology commercialization. Their requests are being processed through Agri Innovate India Limited. Dr. Sudha Mysore Madam is the CEO of Agri Innovate India Limited, and they are also helping us for technology commercialization and transfer. So, in fact, India's first fisheries business incubation center, it was started at ICAR-CIWA. Earlier, the name was Business Process Development Unit. It was started way back in 2000. It was in 2010 we started these operations. Now we are almost into the 10th year. Our present director, Dr. Ravi Shankar sir, was in charge handling all these activities, technology commercialization and transfer, all these activities, till he became the director of CIFT. Presently, I am handling the Agri Business Incubation Unit as well as the TMC unit of ICAR in fisheries. So through this mechanism, we have transferred numerous technologies, and technologies already director has explained, and also which goes in tandem with the present flagship programs of Government of India, such as Atmanirbhar Bharat, Swachh Bharat and National Mission for Green India. And also we promote a lot of green technologies like solar dryers, energy efficient crafts. So these are all being dealt in detail by our director. And we not only serve the industries in and around our locality, but also in other parts of the country through virtual incubation. For example, we have even helped the Himachal Pradesh government to set up processing units in that part of the country, Himachal. We have in fact promoted and we have established 4 mini fish processing units in Himachal Pradesh for the support of small farmers, small fish farmers. Basically, it was meant to support the reservoir fisheries. And they are also working with lot of other state governments also. So for example, right now we have gone for an agreement with the state of Maharashtra Fisheries Department to establish a fish processing facility in Nandarbar in Maharashtra. So like that, we have a lot of, and also we are also working closely with the Jharkhand State Fisheries Department. There also we are trying to establish a mini fish processing facility for the small scale fish farmers and entrepreneurs. So currently, more than 200 small and medium-sized technology and technology-based entrepreneurs we have helped to establish and create a good number of jobs. So, so we mainly cater the kinds to strong technical and advisory support also, and assist them to orient the resources in most optimized manners, thereby yielding high productivity and economic value. So we do a lot of services for them, proactive and value-added services in the form of technology transfer, contract research, consultancy, contract service, and also we provide them the office space and also the state-of-the-art pilot level production facilities also we provide for them, on-site guidance we provide, and specialized training programs also we provide. And also we allow the startups and established business enterprises to access to new innovations and cutting-edge technologies and scientific know-how. And also through virtual incubation, the center is able to provide services to clients across the nation. Business incubation is a selective, comprehensive services offering that aims to accelerate the growth of small and medium enterprises. So basically, we cater to small and medium enterprises through this activity of business incubation programs. And if you see the categories of entrepreneurs we support through the ABA Center, you can see 27% are food manufacturers. We support 21% of established seafood processors. Also, commercial fishing unit manufacturers and operators, 12% we supported. Fish farmers, 5%. This is as far as our ABA Center CIFT is concerned, because we mostly concentrate on post-harvest activities. If you take the activities of other ABA centers like SIPA and SIPA, they mostly support farming and other operations. So the statistics may be a little bit different. So we do support offices, established business firms, 11%, marketing firms, retailers, So all this category of entrepreneurs we support. And we include the clientele of ABA Center includes young startup firms. They need the basic level of technology support and training. And also we support the high-end business firms who is in need of R&D and backup for development of diversified products. So we support both the categories. A new novice who doesn't know anything about fisheries, they also come to us. Sometimes just by hearing something, a presentation, they come to us. They tell us that we want to start something in fisheries, but we don't know what is to be done. Then we thoroughly interview them. We ask what is their needs, so where they're coming from, what is their location, how they can establish a successful venture, which technology to select, and how best to select the technology that is suitable to their location, and how best it is the way to possible to market their technology through that. So all these counts, we give them advice. We in fact help them to select the technology. If suppose, and also people come from outside our domain also. People come to other business establishments also. People come for, suppose somebody comes for cage farming, or somebody comes for fish mariculture. So we also help them, because we have the concern, being the CERTINC center, we coordinate the activities of the other ABA centers in our fisheries institutes. So we give them proper directions. Who is the right person? Who is the best person? Which is the best institute to approach. So that all these services are being done through the CERTIM ABA center. We do the direct incubations, which is intended to handhold the clients during their infancy period. We regularly conduct business meets, industry interface programs, and also we through the process of registration, we allow the incubators to register in our ABA center, and we allow them to meet the scientists and talk on the business business prospects of a particular technology, and we allow them to choose a technology, to trial run based on the technology, and to optimize and finalize the technology and make a output about the technology. And finally, the product is customized to meet all the market demands. So up to this level of services we do from the ABA. So we have normally the incubators are supposed to be here in the incubation center for a fixed period of time. This is called the period of incubation. Normally they come for a period of incubation for a period of say around 1 year. So that depends on based on the nature of business and the progress of their development. So whenever they are mature enough to operate on a profitable business, so the services provided from the ABA centers shall be withdrawn, but the hand holding continues, and they can move out and start up a new venture. So basically they are to be here, and they are incubated here. Normally it's some may be here for 3 months, some may be here for 6 months. Normally we entertain an incubator for a period of 2 years maximum. So within this period of 2 years, the incubator has to choose the technology, appropriate technology, develop the product, and also develop and trial market the product, and finally he should be convinced that this product has a viable business option. Then only he is supposed to move out. So this incubation period varies from incubator to incubator, but normally it is for a period of 1 year. So apart from that, we also provide them office space, of course, on a monthly payment basis, and also pilot plant operations. All these operations and providing services are not free. They are based on a fee, but the fees is determined by the Institute Technology Management Unit of the Institute. So we provide an array of services like from the idea stage to the product launch. Apart from when the prospective incubator comes to our center, a prospective client comes, a prospective entrepreneur or startup comes, it doesn't mean that he has to take always the CFT technology. Maybe he has an idea which has to be nurtured, and we are there to nurture his idea also. Somebody comes with a proper recipe, for example, being a post-harvest technology institute, people always approach us for developing some new product, and he has an idea, so which can be nurtured and made into a viable product. So we work with them on a collaborative mode also, to work and nurture a technology and develop a technology into a viable business idea. So we have specific conditions for that, And our IPTN division has framed a lot of conditions and all agreement aspects for that thing. We work on a collaborative basis based on an MOU between the client and us. So the IP rights can be shared between the client and the institute, and we can work together for developing a technology. That is also possible. And also our technologies, the institute technologies are also classified based on the technology readiness level. There are 7 technology readiness level. I'm not going to do it later. So TRL 7 means the product, the technology is ready for it. Is a sure shot technology. It can be taken for commercialization. So this TRL level, we also categorize our technologies and we offer the technologies which are ready for commercialization. So other services also we do for the portfolio management, fund mobilization. Of course, as an IBA, we have our limitations to provide funds for our incubators. So we don't have that provision of funds for the incubators, like a startup fund or like some investment, initial investment, seed funding, we don't have. But we do help them for fund mobilization, and also we give them the financial advisory. We give them detailed project support, test marketing, we help them, prototype testing, feasibility analysis. These are all coming under the services of Helpware, and we also have the databases and software for IP search and also other analytical services. And these are some of the entrepreneur ready technologies developed by ICAR-CIWA. I'm not going into the detail because our director has already covered these technologies under different domains. You can see under harvest domain, value addition domain, engineering, waste utilization, healthcare, quality assurance. We have a lot of technologies. They are all under ready for commercialization level. So if you coming to the professional service functions we undertake the last 5 years or so, 2015 to 19, we can see we have done technology transfer is a maximum. We have done maximum number of technology transfers, followed by consultancy services and also contract services, then collaborative research programs, and also we do contract research also. These are all the different modes of technology transfer. Here you can see we are doing a good number of collaborative research programs, wherein I mentioned earlier, this is mainly for helping the entrepreneurs to develop the technologies on a collaborative mode and to make it into a viable technology. So TRL, I'm not going into detail. So TRL, we have classified our technologies also. So based on this TRL system, we have also classified our technology from TRL level 1 to TRL level 7. So even the entrepreneur has the option to choose from the technologies which are categorized under different TRL level also. Or rather, we help them to choose from the different set of technologies. So herein, the important thing about ABA is we de-risk the technologies for the entrepreneurs. Because if for an entrepreneur, if you want to establish a facility for the production of for commercial production of something, it is a high risk business because it requires a lot of money also. So herein, by paying a nominal fee, we are de-risking his risk. We are de-risking the risk of the entrepreneur. We help them to, in fact, go for the production and to see for himself that whether this idea is workable. If he fails also, a minimum amount is only lost as in an investment. Whereas in the other case, establishing a huge production facility may be surely out of question for a small scale entrepreneur. So by utilizing our technologies, he can very well trial run his technologies. He can also go for the pilot marketing and he can see what is the market mechanics and what is the market dynamism, so that finally he can take a decision whether to go along with the technology or he can choose some other better option. So we de-risk these technologies for the entrepreneurs, and some of the major facilities provided for this de-risking is, that is, we have a scientific backup team, and also we have the initial assessment done by a capable team of scientists and technical staff. We provide regulatory compliance and standard support. We provide the infrastructure and production unit, training and skill development, product development and testing, and formulation and setting up new facilities and upscaling. All these activities we provide it for them. So coming to the women startups. So how ICAR ABA Center handholds a women startup? So as I already mentioned earlier, we provide a well-tested technology basket to choose from. We provide access to a friendly ecosystem to start the business, act as a constant mentor, and we also help them for technology optimization, upscaling, branding, labeling, IP protection, approaching the financial institution, certifications, approval, registration, test marketing. We also provide linkages to other business mentors. We help them to establish a network, and also we constantly motivate them to do better in business. So this is in general how we handhold a startup, how we mentor a startup, how we do our activity through the Agri Business Incubation Center. This is very well true for the women startups also. So these are the facilities we offer under one roof. We have the on-site technical guidance, office space is there. We have the pilot plant facilities, conference facilities, everything is there. And we have the facilities, workshop facilities, fabrication units, testing units, pilot level facilities. All these things are in place in CIFT. And also we offer a lot of training. These are the general training programs we offer. Apart from that, for the incubators, we offer the specialized training for it. For example, somebody wants to establish a dry fish unit. We provide them the specialized training program, and we make them, we give them a hands-on training program for production of quality value-added dry fish products. And also we provide them all the related program training about the quality, ensuring the quality of the product, how to maintain the product, for the storage of the product, packaging of the product, everything on a customized programs we offer to the incubators also. These are the general trainings we offer in the institute. Then we provide them being, as you all know, we are both National Referral Lab and Reference Lab. So we provide all analytical testing services, and all the products we do the testing, and also the nutritional profiling and labeling of the products. These are all, we have the facility to do all the nutritional profiling of the products and packing of the products also. So this already I told you about the business service support. So these are the production lines we have as far as the post-harvest technologies are concerned. So if you see the women entrepreneurs, so last, how many women entrepreneurs we supported, you can see in what categories. So most of the women entrepreneurs, they come as for the product like fish pickle. Some of them, almost 7 entrepreneurs have opted for fish pickle. Then 5 entrepreneurs have opted for batter and breaded products. And there are 2 women entrepreneurs. In fact, one of them got a lot of awards also. Srimati Omana Muralidharan, extruded products. Then fish feed, dry fish, there are 3 entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. And the number of women incubators registered is 29. And they mainly come for these activities, mainly for drying, curing, and fish pickle and extruded products and other value-added products. And if you see, earlier our directors mentioned about the refrigerated fish vending kiosk and hybrid dryers. So many women help groups have taken up this fish vending kiosk through the different government programs. In fact, Kerala State Fisheries Department had a program to provide this fish vending kiosk to self-help groups. So many women have taken up. Now we are also having an agreement for fish vending kiosk to be given to a lot of women self-help groups also. So these are the companies we assisted. See, we have assisted a lot of almost 172 companies, startup companies, established food companies, and retail and food service companies. And we have done these activities, sensitization programs, ideation programs, incubation programs, and acceleration programs. And these are some of the products developed by our incubators. Products from seaweed, value-added products, fish pickle and other aspects, solar dry products, fish vending kiosks, fresh fish vending kiosks. Then this extruded products. In fact, Fishura is one extruded products, hand-operated descaling machine to the entrepreneurs. So value-added products, already director has covered that products and other things. So these are all some of the successful commercialized products from our incubation center. So you can see the jackfruit combination, jackfruit product, stuffed mussels, and also other aspects. And all these things already director has explained about our adulterant rapid detection kit for adulterants. Some of the incubated products brands we developed. So many of these product brands are all owned by the women entrepreneurs also. So this is in a nutshell what I want to tell you about the support services offered by ICAR-CIWA to the women entrepreneurs in the sector of post-harvest technology, fisheries, and also to to all the entrepreneurs also. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Very nice presentation, and actually we need your guidance because in the next TFC we have also planned going to set up one agriculture business incubation center at our institution. So it is expected by our honorable DDG Sahab, it was suggested by him also, that this is the only women institute and that there should be at least one, must be there, this ABI in the institution. So since we are new, and now we have also got one of the scientists of post-harvest processing and technology, and this post-harvest management technology, and Tanuja is also there. So our institute has been strengthened with manpower. So certainly we will be taking your help for this establishment of this.
Definitely. Yes.
And I appreciate that you have given the very good presentations, and you have done very good job and developed various products for this addressing the need of the society. And I also thankful to your director for permitting to deliver this lecture. So thank you very much. Now over to Tanuja.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I thank Dr. Nainan.
Just I have 1 second. Please, before Nikita, 1 second. Srivastava Sahab, kindly permit me to quit. I have another meeting. If you don't mind. Okay.
So thank you very much for joining with us.
And thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to share this webinar, and we are looking forward for further collaboration. Okay, please.
Sorry, still we are in touch with Krishna Madam, sir.
Yeah.
And she's a member in our reshaping of this Agri-Pan home science in the women in agriculture.
And Sadangi Sahab was in our committee also. Okay.
Okay.
So we will continue this association. So kindly permit me to quit. Okay. Please.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Jiva, especially.
Thank you,
yeah.
sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nainan sir, for giving a wonderful presentation, sir. You have taken us through the process of the agri-business incubation, how to do that. And as our director, sir, said, we are also in the process of developing an incubation center for women. So thank you, sir. And we will like to have a continued collaboration with CIFT, sir. Thank you. Now I would welcome Dr. Nikita Gopal, ma'am, to deliver her lecture.
Thank you, Tanuja, and sorry for the technical hitch. Actually, I had tested it before the seminar started, so I didn't think that we will have any issues. But anyway, technology always, there may be small issues. Respected chief guest, Dr. Agrawal, DDG, respected guest of honor, Dr. P.S. Pandey, ADG, Director CIWA, Dr. Srivastava, my director who just left. Other speakers, Nainan, Ananthan and Shyam, colleagues from CIWA. Ananthan, I think you're unmute. Can you please mute, please? I think Ananthan is... Thank you. Participants of this webinar, and ladies and gentlemen, very warm good afternoon to all of you. The topic that CIWA has given me to speak on today is gender in fisheries, present status and future roadmap. So it is not going to be too technical as the keynote by my director and the talk by my colleague Dr. Nainan was. I will be just situating where the women are in the sector and trying to bring out some of the issues that we face and they face in the field, and also try to look at what can be really done. So we know from the previous presentations that there is a lot of opportunity for people to actually do something in the field, but how do we really do it? So that is the whole issue it is a systemic issue. It's a systemic problem in our processes, in our policies, and in our programs. So I'll see if I can bring that out briefly during the presentation. And if you would permit me, I'll just share my screen with you. And with also your permission, I will just give me a moment. Okay. Okay. So if you would have all noticed in the presentation by my director, which was an excellent presentation, there was one particular slide that stuck me a lot. That was where he showed where women are situated in the sector. So if you would have noticed, it was a pyramid and we have all the women at the bottom and very little towards the top, including positions of leadership in professional organizations and fisheries management, in industrial fisheries, and if you have noted, like I did, conference speakers. So I'm the only speaker who is a woman in this seminar that is largely on gender. So in all those positions at the top, I think we have fewer women, and I think that is where the whole problem of women in the sector lies, because when it comes to policy making, when it comes to decision making, when it comes to implementation of those policies, there is very little women involvement of women in all these levels. And I think unless you have the perspective of a woman for a policy on a woman, or for a policy on, or for a program on a woman, I think it will actually have the impacts that it is now having, that is practically no impact. Earlier speakers had also given a lot of, in fact, Dr. Lipi's presentation, brief on the seminar had a lot of statistics. So I'm not really going into much of that, but with so much of presence of women, why are we still talking of wanting gender equality in fisheries? If you look at the sector as such, it is so diverse. There is so much variety as far as the resources is concerned, as far as the activities is concerned. There is so much of diversity, and I think part of the problem lies in its diversity and the problem of actually situating or placing where and what women do. Fundamentally, if you look at the number of people in the primary sector, that is in the harvest sector, in the production sector alone, there are around 60 million people in both capture and culture fisheries. But what we don't realize is almost 20% of these people in inland sector and about 14-15% of these people in marine are actually women. So a lot of women are involved in harvesting of fish, which I think goes undocumented, unrecognized. We always talk of women being there in marketing, in processing, in post-harvest, but there are lots and lots of women in harvest actually. But unfortunately for us, fisheries has got a man's face. At the if you look at the front end of the industry, the face is all fishing and fish farming are all men. But we have a lot of women actually harvesting fish. They use indigenous gear to harvest fish in inshore waters. We actually have a licensed fisherwoman in the state of Kerala who goes fishing in the sea. So she may be probably the only one in the country, but there may be others whose examples are not actually documented. We have a lot of women even now who glean fish, shellfish, and other things from inshore waters, from the coal lands, from waters in the backwaters and in rivers. Fundamentally, primarily what is important about this activity is that a lot of this goes into household nutrition, into also meeting household needs. So it's doubly important. One thing is it is not counted in production, so it is not seen. But we must also realize that the fish that they harvest and they take home is actually the expenditure that they would have been otherwise spending on protein, they're saving it. So it's actually a saving of expenditure. It's contributing to household nutritional security, as well as it is contributing to the fish production of this country. We have a lot of women who harvest seaweed. Actually, they dive. The picture on the top is a woman diver who actually they dive for seaweed in the oceans. They collect wild harvest. They harvest seaweed, which is a highly expensive product when it comes to the international market, but they get very low price for the harvest that they do. And the photo on the lower photo that you see is women who are involved in seaweed aquaculture. It is from the project that we are doing right now with CMFRA as the Indian partner, and we have the KMFRA, the Kenyan Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, doing this work in Kenya. So the project is getting over this month, and we're looking at the gender roles and gender contribution in the seaweed aquaculture value chain, which is a very important high-end product when it comes to international markets, but the socioeconomic status and the conditions of women still being very, very poor in the sector. A lot of women are involved in inland fisheries. They actually culture the fish, they harvest the fish. So this, when we talk of production, I think we should also recognize that a lot of women are contributing to this production, besides the other activities that they are traditionally recognized as doing. So we should also know that without a woman's contribution, the men wouldn't be able to go fishing, because they fabricate nets, they mend nets, they cook his food that he takes for when he goes fishing. They look after, they take care of his family, his children, his aged parents. So they take care of, they are taking care of the family, they're taking care of his needs before he goes to fishing. So fishing would not happen if women were not there. And they also carry this fish. As consumers, we should know that it is the women who actually bring this fish to the consumer's doorstep largely, though that situation is changing and changing rapidly. So all this actually is considered to be an extension of her nurturing role, of the family role that she plays. So it's actually but unpaid family labor when she feeds the fish in the pond. In the aquaculture pond, it is like feeding her children. So it is considered to be something that is an extension of a nurturing role. But if we had to actually engage a person to do the job, we had to pay. So actually it should be considered unpaid family labor, which it is not. And we have several shore-based activities. In fact, as ADG and DDG were mentioning, much of the shore-based activities, once a fish is landed, is done by women. They sort fish, they market fish, they dry fish. So all that, however, falls into the informal sector. It is unregulated. There are very few rules and policies and acts that regulate these activities that the women are engaged in. They do a lot of drying all over the country. The photos are from Gujarat, from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala. So a lot of labor that goes into the drying of fish is women. This is from that side, that part of the country, from the eastern part of the country. And women smoke fish, they ferment fish. So all this is, and fermented products are actually used for in other preparations, and it can be stored for a long time, and it is used in other food preparations in the Northeast. So what is generally noticed, it's all these jobs are filled with a lot of drudgery, and I think one of the focus points of CIWA's research has been drudgery reduction, as far as I know, and that was what we did in the project on drying that we associated with, my director was just mentioning. They have the levels of technology are generally very low. There is absolutely no standardization as far as fermented products is concerned. There is no standardization of smoke products, or those to some extent it's there in drying, but very little technology uptake in that. And another problem is that scale of operation is very, very small, and when the scale of operations become large, for instance, when drying became very large scale in Kerala, we found that women have become decision takers rather than decision makers. They became just workers in those drying yards rather than doing and deciding what to dry and how to dry. So this, we are seeing a market change when it comes for the scale increases. It automatically shifts to the men. It could be men in the family, or it could be other players who are coming into the sector. And the almost all of the floor level activity in the processing, which is export oriented, which is highly commercially important to the country because of its what it brings to the exchequer, is handled by women. Almost 90% of the workforce in this sector is women, but again the same story that they're very little on the top. Has the situation changed? Yes, the situation is changing. It is changing rapidly, and it is not all the changes are not really happening for the good. Because when we saw that one of the changes that, the major changes that has occurred is because of the mechanization of our fishing industry. When fishing boats were small, when the boats were being landed, non-mechanized, and even with outboard motors, when they were being landed on the beaches, the access of fish for women was much more higher. They could just walk out of their houses, go to the beach, because it was always near fishing villages. These boats used to land, so they used to just go out and collect the fish, and which they used to, some of it was taken home, some of it was dried, some of it was fermented, probably not, some of it was smoked, and whatever was left was marketed. So all those activities were done by women. Now the landings have shifted to harbors, and these are far away from fishing villages. Even the fishermen have to actually take transport and come here. So the access to fish, it is a tenure right. In fact, it is an informal community-based tenure right, which the women earlier had, is no longer with the women now. So they have to actually travel a long distance from their homes, come to these harbors, landing centers, and wait. They are not involved in the first sale any longer. It is all controlled by auction agents and big buyers. So they have to wait and actually buy from the big buyers. So they are not able to participate in this whole marketing segment of the value chain in any significant way. So they are slowly being pushed out. So the drudgery is increasing, the amount of time they're spending for marketing is increasing, and the amount of money, the expenditure on marketing also has increasing. And when we come to markets, the markets are generally owned by the panchayat or the municipality, and they generally give it an auction to somebody. So the person who buys an auction actually allocates these spaces, and women are now being relegated to the unimportant spaces because they really cannot afford to pay the fee that the person who has taken the market is actually giving. So this case we're seeing in several states. We have seen this in Bihar, we have seen this in Odisha, we have seen this in Kerala, we have seen this in several other states of the country. And in processing, if you see, their skill and dexterity are praised, but their category of labor is unskilled. They are paid a piece rate. Wages are not very high as we expect from the industry. And there is very, very poor representation in top management. The presentation by my director, the pyramid that he had shown, is actually a study by a French seafood agency, and Marie-Christine Montfort. She did the study along with her colleagues, and actually she is herself from the seafood industry and struggling to be at the top. So it was her finding that there are very few people who are women who are at the top management positions in the seafood industry. It's not because women are not capable, it's just because of several other factors, women are not there. So what are some of the issues that we, over the years, over the decades of our studies that we found? There's little say over benefits that is available to them, and they receive very little support in their work. And often their practical and long-term needs are neglected. And this is all because the weaker bargaining power, etc., is because of historical gender biases. There are historical gender biases that this is what a woman should do, this is what a man should do, and this is sort of normalized in workplace and society. So this is what she has to do, this is what she's supposed to do. So this has not really changed. No matter what we talk of when it comes to gender equality and gender, these things are normalized in workplace and society. And these are historical gender biases which will take a very, very long time to go, and it can go only with proactive policy and program interventions. But what we fail to understand is if this equality continues, it will affect the food and financial security, it affects the personal safety of the women, it affects family nutrition, and it affects stability of whole communities. So if women are not given the access, even traditional access what they had is now being slowly being lost. So and also on top of it, there is this pressure from the industry to minimize labor costs. So when we look at processing, or when you look at fishing, in fact, of migrant labor in fishing, men labor in fishing, we find that there is this pressure from the industry to minimize labor costs in spite of activities that are actually degrading the environment and fish stock. We know that with more fishing effort, the environment as well as the fish stocks are depleting, and this is a vicious cycle now, and the women are caught, and the men who depend on it. I'm not telling that it is not the men, because gender is just a construct which includes both women and men. So it is becoming a vicious cycle. And as I mentioned earlier, the work that women do in the sector is not considered work in the economic sense. So it's just an extension of her household responsibilities that she performs without being paid. And this lack of recognition for her work and her workplace, this actually results in workplace challenges going unrecognized. There are a lot of challenges in the workplace that she has, whether she's drying fish or whether she's selling fish or working in a processing factory. Those challenges that she faces is because of this lack of recognition for her work as an economic activity. And I think that needs to be looked at, because if you look at markets, my director was saying we don't like going into a fish market because it is unhygienic. So how are women being impacted by that? There is lack of basic facilities, like even they don't even have a toilet. So what do women do in markets, in such unhygienic markets? And if you compare men and women selling similar fish, we often notice that women who sell that same fish gets lower prices, because that is the way it should be. You know, women should not expect more than this. That is what is expected out of the whole process. And then safety is another concern that I think it is a constitutional right, actually, under right to work. And we find that there is a lot of there are a lot of instances where there is physical abuse. They're not allowed into public transport, and when they go to far off places, it's a constant worry. How safe are they? So women selling markets, they face abuse, both verbal and physical. Those things we have been witnessing and we have been seeing, and this is something that is almost a daily occurrence. This is not normal. This is accepted as normal, but it is not normal. It should not be normal. So these are the issues that women face, which go unrecognized because her work in fisheries is not recognized. So it's again a vicious circle, as we say. And in seafood processing, there is a lot of physical discomfort because they work in wet conditions, cold conditions for a very, very long hours. So since it is dependent, the wages are dependent on piece rate, they will want to do maximum work so that they get that much income. So that aspect is not, though there are guidelines and social audits from importing countries, etc., where they have to provide all these facilities and all that. But I think if you look at the sector as a whole, these issues continue to be issues. And it is not a novelty that women decision making is very, very poor. It's a global phenomenon, not an Indian phenomena. The EU study that I was mentioning, and there are very few CEOs in commercial seafood industry, and it is it is almost same in India. I don't think I've ever heard of a CEO in India who is a woman. So the participation is constrained by social and cultural factors, and there may be laws that are discriminatory. You know, law itself may be discriminatory. Does a fisherwoman get a card, a fisher card? I don't think so. Are they given licenses in reservoirs? I don't know. But I think in Odisha there is some case where the reservoir fishing rights are given to women. If it is very good. Tenure rights are not very clear. What is her access to fish that is being landed? The first landing, does she have any access to that? So because it is a common property resource and everybody and anybody can simply come and harvest and do fishing, those rights that at least that we see in agriculture, like the land rights. So what is the position of the tenure rights when it comes to coastal fisheries, or for that matter inland fisheries or aquaculture? Do women have rights? So that is a problem. And access to capital is problematic throughout. It's not just for the women, it's also problematic to men. It's problematic to the primary sector, whether it is agriculture or livestock or fisheries. So the fundamental question is, how do we bring the whole gamut of activities under scheme? So we're talking of activities, alternative livelihood options and all that. But why look for traditional livelihood options? Can't they be entrepreneurs? Can't women be trained and skilled for that? And I think my colleague Nainan's presentation must have actually flagged some of the beautiful technologies which can be taken up and entrepreneurship can be developed. So why can't there be entrepreneurs of other kinds? So I think we're still talking of alternative livelihoods, and when we talk of women, we talk of those traditional alternative livelihoods that we can think of, and not go for higher. Why can't they go for a complicated technology? Can't they handle that? They can. So that the right amount of skilling, the right amount of capabilities need to be developed for going to that level. And the whole problem, I think, comes from this. There are data gaps. We don't really count women except for maybe family, how many fishermen, how many fisherwomen, we count that. But otherwise, what are they doing? In what trade are they engaged in? This is not just a phenomenon that we see in one country, it is there throughout. And only now globally policies have begun adding terms like gender equality into their instruments. And I think to be honest, I think fisheries was the first ever international instrument to add gender equality. That was the small scale fisheries guidelines that came, the FAO small scale fisheries guidelines, which for the first time has gender equality as a major theme in it. And of course the SDGs. We had other, if you look at the previous policies, international policies, we had the Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries. We're celebrating 50 years of that, and it does not mention women and gender. Why? Women, were women not part of fisheries then? They were. And when we talk of SDG 14, it does not reference SDG 5, because there we're talking of conserving and sustainable use of oceans. But that should be linked to SDG 5, where we're trying to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. And in 2016, FAO Fisheries and Aquaculture Employment Statistics were broken out by the sex for first time. That was in 2016. And actually, FAO can do little if member countries don't report data. It is up to the member countries to give data to FAO, which they then publish. So only 27% of FAO member countries reported sex differentiated employment data for fisheries, and only 33% reported them for aquaculture. So reporting, unless we know that these many people are involved, when we say 80%, 60%, 70%, it doesn't make any sense, because unless you know that these many women are working in this sector and this is the problem, we cannot begin to address these problems. So this is in a nutshell the issues, and I think lack of data and information on contributions, and this leads to a policy envy, because a disinterest comes in. Okay, we have included gender equality, we're talking of gender a lot, so it will take care of itself, but it never does. So why does gender matter? Is because in fisheries, the fish sector wins only when women's contributions are valued. We've seen from previous slides that they have smaller enterprises, they have lower pay, they have riskier work, which is not taken care of. And if the policies are gender blind, and if data is gender blind, it will undermine a woman's contribution. We don't know how, if we continue to ignore women in fisheries and agriculture, we really won't know what their contributions are, and they have to really fight for even their basic rights. For instance, getting a fisher card, they should be recognized as fisher, you know, that is a term that is now being used. So, and when modernization, we saw when modernization came into fisheries, women have been impacted much more negatively than men have. And actually society and environment will benefit when women are empowered. So this is not something that is very unique or very new concept. Society and environment will benefit only when the one half of mankind is empowered. So what can be done is you count them, first of all. That is point number one, you count and make them visible. And the point number two is increase funding. You talk of gender, but getting a project in gender is near impossible today. We can't get any funding for gender research, gender research. It may be part of other things, looking at gender at the end of the program, how it impacted women, how it impacted men, etc. But to get something on gender itself, I think that is very, very difficult even today. And I think we need to increase funding to gender, and we need to support women's empowerment. That is in all areas, in education, in advocacy, as far as their access is concerned, to make women's life much more easier, and they should become allies in doing all the activities in fisheries. And you have to collaborate on gender, and I think as research organizations we can collaborate on research activities. There may be other civil society organizations or grassroots level organizations or national international agencies. Actually, they need to collaborate so that we can have impactful programs for women. And these are the critical stakeholders that we've identified. The fisheries agencies are there, there are funders, there are researchers, and there are grassroots level workers. So looking ahead, I don't know whether this photograph is actually being too pessimistic about the whole thing, but I would like to just mention two quotes from a blog that Kate Bevitt had written for World Fish. Two of my close friends and associates from GAF have told in that particular blog that women and gender studies and also action has been going on for some decades in fisheries, but it has not gained much traction in the face of rapid development of fisheries and in research. Though fisheries and aquaculture research is developing very, very fast, the women and gender studies in that has not been able to keep pace. And more importantly, gender tends to go in an iterative cycle. People pay attention, then people think we already did gender, so we need not worry about it. So I think this in a nutshell sort of, tells us what we are actually going around in circles without actually deciding on what to do about it. Since our director just mentioned about some of our experiences with working with women, besides doing work on issues and on topics related to gender, that in that angle, we have also done action research projects with women's group, not just women, also men were included. The NFDB project was the one which we did with CIWA, that was on drying. We also had an NAIP project which we did with fisherwomen in several states, and the latest project that I just completed is a DST project with seed funding. All these projects, from my experience in all these projects, we have multiple stakeholders are involved in any project or in any problem. So a problem cannot be just a woman's problem or a issue with women. There are multiple stakeholders. They could be local government bodies involved, like Director was saying about land availability. So that decision lies with the local self-government body. And there are a lot of NGOs or grassroots level organizations. There may be a cooperative society of which they are members, or maybe a self-help group of which they are a member. So there are multiple stakeholders with whom we have to work in tandem, and we have to get everyone on board and get a broad consensus. Otherwise, things will not work. If it's an action research project, if you're planning some intervention, it will not work if you don't look at all the stakeholders involved and try to get them on board and reach a consensus. So that was my takeaway point number one from the experience of maybe 10-15 years of action research projects that we've been doing. And second is within a group. When we talk of a group, that group has a dynamic. So it's important to realize that not all are equally, the capabilities of each person, each individual in the group will vary, and it's how we look at and how we take all that advantage of that dynamic. So, and if you actually have interventions where people think that they are getting a job or things like that, it will never work. They should be able to understand that it is something for them. It is something that they have to take forward. So unless that recognition comes, I think intervention projects especially will not really work. And of course, you have the technologies and you can always skill them. So that is the strength of our organizations, that we have the technologies and we can skill them. But doing the other things like working with the dynamics of the group and bringing all the stakeholders together, that is a difficult part in any project. From the three very diverse projects with very diverse activities, but largely focusing on women that I have done, this is my experience that I would like to share. And we actually inaugurated we actually worked with a clam group of people working on clam fishery, and that is a molluscan fishery. It was an island, it's a village, and we actually took about 9 years. We were working with them for about 9 years, and we have successfully started a facility for them, and they are running that facility. So I think that is what counts, that they can take it on their own. There are problems. I'm not saying there are no problems with the unit, they have problems on a daily basis, but they are capable enough of taking care of it. They come to us for technical clarifications or for technical handholding, but otherwise they are taking care of their issues, whether it is discussing with buyers or others, they are doing it themselves. They call us when they have technical issues. But so that is, I think, the ultimate, when we're talking of an impact and a successful intervention, it is that confidence that they develop to run an enterprise or any activity that we intended them to. So thank you for your patient
Thank you very much
listening, and
elaborative presentation, and you have very rightly pointed out the bottlenecks about this gender in fisheries. That is very much required, as I have told that our council is visioning that solution research should be there. And until unless we are not aware about the problem and bottlenecks of the women, we cannot think our project and plans and policies, how in which direction it should be planned and in which direction it should be implemented. So your presentation was very good, very nice, and very informative also. And certainly it has given a very good guidelines. And one of the recommendations may be taken that studies should be made to find out the bottlenecks of the women in the fisheries, that at the local level, at the national level, at the mandi level, at the village level, whatever the different stages. So one thing I would like to submit here for the information of the participants, that recently council has formulated one gender budget cell for the ICR. So for that gender budget cell is our ADG Pandey Sahab is the nodal officer for the ICR, and this institution is also one of the members. So we have conducted already 2 meetings, that in which way the council should take this about this empowerment of the women by providing this budget, and that should be monitored by the finance ministry, because the agenda and program has been given by the finance ministry itself. So our finance ministry is very much interested that our country is constituting 50% population of the women, so they are having the equal right. So they should be also empowered. And if the budget is not there, so how the empowerment is not possible. So that's why at the first stage we are in a line that how much budget is being incurred for the procurement of the things, for the contingency, for the providing the skill training program and all those things. So it will be taken care, and this ICAR-CIWA will be a repository for those are the data at the national level. So after once the national level data will be available, we can recommend to the finance ministry that this is the things and this institution has contributed this much for the women empowerment, this much. So on that basis, this finance ministry and cabinet will decide that how many further budget can be given for the women empowerment. So this is the thing which is council has already taken in the place, and it has been also recommended by the cabinet. So I hope that in the next TFC, some more fund will be given towards the gender empowerment. So thank you very much for your nice presentations. Over to Tanuja madam.
Thank you, Nikita madam, for beautifully detailing on the status of women in fisheries, the gender biasness existing in the society, and the glaring lack of gender disaggregated data in fisheries throughout the world, and how we should work in tandem with all the stakeholders for the gender mainstreaming in fisheries. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for delivering the lecture, ma'am.
Can I put a little question to madam?
Yes, sir, sure.
Good afternoon, madam. I am Dr. Anil Kumar from CIWA. Thank you for making an elaborate presentation on gender aspects in fishery sector. My one question to you regarding is that you have rightly said that being unrecognized because of the lack of data, the women gets the contribution of women gets unrecognized. It remains unrecognized. You have rightly said that the FAO and other agencies are trying to get this aggregated data on all aspects of agriculture. One submission is that the NSSO 1668th round has given some data on sex aggregated on participation of women in fishery sector, women and men both. Similarly, the recent time use study of 2019 published in September 2020. From there also we can call out some information of participation of women in fishery sector, and what we have the preliminary finding says that about 0.44% of the men and 0.13 something like percent of women are engaged in fishery sector. Do you have any idea of the NSSO data that you have seen? Can you comment on the NSSO data? Question is to
Madam?
Nikita Gopal.
Nikita ma'am?
She might have been disconnected. Madam, it is audible to you?
Nikita ma'am? So
I
shall
think she's connected, but she's muted, I think. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, she
Maybe
might have played. Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
So
shall we move to the next speaker,
Yes, we
sir?
will go for the next.
Yes, yes. Now, I welcome our next speaker, Dr. Shyam Salim, sir, who is a principal scientist, agricultural economics in ICAR-CIWA. He has over 20 years of research and development on marine fisheries economics, domestic marketing and international trade, climate change impacts on fisheries and fishers, socioeconomics and livelihood policy research and management. He has put substantial efforts and received accolades in empowering women and other stakeholders in the fisheries. He has developed the Indian fish market grid for better marketing efficiency and has been part of over 50 national and international projects, well supported by more than 300 publications. He will be delivering the lecture or throwing some light on the aspect of Kerala model of building alternative livelihood options for women in fisheries. I welcome you, sir, to deliver the lecture.
I think it's lunchtime, but I'll take 20 minutes and I'll
Yes,
just
sir.
finish before time so that you won't miss your lunch and feel bad for attending this lecture. Extremely grateful to the director Siva, ADG, my good friend Charles Jiva, and my very good student Tanuja for conducting this workshop. I'm extremely happy to be a part of it. I belong to CMFRI. I'd been in CIFE for so long, so I know many of the people. So being in CMFRI, you might appreciate the fact that we are not involved in doing research on women, but often what we do is we get a chance to give a better handhold to many of the fisheries model trying to empower women. So we got a great opportunity between 2015 to 2020 till date. We have been working on women entrepreneurs, women self-help groups, in which we have a great Kerala model, which is known as the SAF, that is a Society for Assistance to Fisherwomen. So I'm trying to narrate a story in which we had a good handhold with SAF for the last 5 years, and the way they evolved. I don't want to take the credit of anything in SAF, but what we have done is there is a good story, and we have tried to direct it well so that it becomes important for the fishermen community. Thereby, the policy planners have opened up their eyes and started seeing how best women could do. The constitution envisages many things, actually. I'm not going to details, actually, but I'm quite happy that as the day progresses, the things are getting better and better, with women being in the main fold of both policies as well as power, as well as employment and entrepreneurships. If you see the profile of women in Kerala, so we have around 17.52 million, and with the gender ratio among the fishermen community around 943, which is lower than the state average. And they form around 29% of the total workforce, but only 26% of them have access to credit, and only 8% has got minimal access to resources. So if we have to start a business, it's important that they need to have credit facilities, because it involves considerable gestation, and also the resources are not with them, except for the states like Maharashtra, where the boats are owned by the women. Whereas in the case of Kerala, we don't find such access to resources as well as ownership of assets. So this we have been studying right from the day when I started being an agri graduate. Women do multiple work, but what happens is that work isn't documented till recently. So she's a part of many other work, but she politely tells that she's a homemaker, but she's a part of involved in many other activities. Even if we talk about fisheries, the vendors, the retailers, the pre-processing, the processing sector, all involves considerable amount of women, which are not being documented and manifested the way in which they need to be acknowledged. So the major reasons why they become more vulnerable or marginalized, as Neeraj has already told, there could be gender discrimination, there could be poverty, there could be domestic violence, economic exploitation, poor access to resources, educational deprivations, malnutrition, health issues, lack of motivation, mobility, low social status are some of the reasons actually. Now, we started documenting the kind of marginalization of fishermen in Kerala, and we find the important activities of a house and what is their contribution. You could find that most of those have got women contribution, significant women contribution, whether it's coming to cooking or the mobile food units, the diesel supply, the petty shops, all these things, they have considerable amount of women being involved. Now, when I started documenting the role of women in fisheries in Kerala, I find that women are involved in these major areas. They could be vendors, they could be retailers, they could be in processing, pre-processing, value addition, managers, commission agents. And but you can see the kind of entrepreneurship which generate more and more profit is hardly 2%. So some of the problems, it has been already listed. I'm not going to detail of all those things. And with this, in the 1990s, the government of Kerala started planning what is known as self-help groups, micro enterprises, which are being christened in different names. It could be the Kudumbasri, the Janasri. There are many other organizations which were mostly successful in non-fisheries areas actually. You could see that the number of people involved in these kind of areas among the fishermen community is quite low. And we never thought of having such in details or specifics were done until 2005 after tsunami, when they started an impact assessment program in 2005. Then they understood that the women were deprived of many things. They were not having resources. Then they started, the government of Kerala started doing what is known as STEEP, that is the Tsunami Emergency Assistance Program, the Tsunami Rehabilitation Program, the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. With all these things, they have done some around 2,500 groups, activity groups. They call it as Tira Maitri. Tira means bank and Maitri means friends, for the upliftment of the fishermen. And finally, they started emerging into a new holistic livelihood program, which is known as SAF, Society for Assistance to Fisherwomen, which focuses mostly on economic, social, and gender empowerment, and providing alternate livelihood options. These are basically PPP models where there is people, the fisherwomen, public, panchayat, as well as professionals across many sectors are involved. This is how a SAF organogram works. As like the different department of fisheries, you could see that there is a minister, the secretary, the director, and different theme areas, different heads, and from which you could see a micro enterprise under SAF. They've got an executive director, the deputy director of fisheries, the nodal officer, an assistant nodal officer. Then there is a panchayat which is coming in the horizontal line, which is the Tira Maitri Council, the mission coordinators, and all leading to what is known as an activity group. So the significance of these activity groups are, they are not only mostly involved in fisheries alone. In fact, analysis indicated that fisheries was less profitable because the value addition was quite low, the kind of machinery use was low, but they were into different activity groups. And some of the activity groups were done. And so in 2015, they find that some of them were actually closing down. So there was around 500 groups which closed. There were small problems between these groups. The financial viability wasn't done. There wasn't the benefit monitoring evaluation wasn't done. So in 2015, CMFRI involved with SAF in an MOU in trying to understand that what are the different ways by which CMFRI could document, CMFRI could mobilize, CMFRI could provide a plan. So accordingly, CMFRI interventions on SAF are under the following heads. I should greatly appreciate that the SAF functioning was good. CMFRI was only trying to document. So at any point of my lecture, please don't believe that CMFRI did everything. CMFRI just streamlined everything. So some of the major things which we did under the research and development include, we started developing some value addition techniques with the support of CFT, thanks to Ravi Shankar sir and some of the colleagues over there. We developed some market strategies. We developed performance appraisal. We provided training, capacity building, employment. We did placements for some of the groups, empowerment, exposure were done to different institutes and different fair. We provide advisories and marketing. We developed the vision. We developed the policies. these are the areas in which we will be able to work on. So the Tiramatri groups normally consist of 3 to 4 members. They need to be a fisherwoman. At least one of them should be a fisherwoman. They are selected. Based on the selection, they are attached to the panchayat. And from the panchayat, they are given different kinds of training. They are scored on their merit, and based on which they are given 80,000 rupees per group, for which there is a matching grant provided by the government. So they get 1,60,000. This is something which is given free to them. So after this, if they run for 1-2 years, they get revolving fund, they get additional fund towards technology development. If they find that one business is not going to be good, they could do what is known as a shift to business. So these are the kind of options which are available with them. Some of the intervention which we did, and we tried to assess the empowerment, and we found that there could be different options. We started improving the amount from 80,000 to 2 lakhs. The shift of technology fund has been improved. So these many groups, there are around 1,500 groups. We have studied from 400 activity groups from 9 coastal districts. The districts are indicated below. Now, there are one more district which is known as Kottayam, which included from 2017. So these fisherwomen are mostly interested not only in fisheries, actually. They are into garments and textiles. They take things from Surat, they sell it. They do food. Normally they used to call us Narden food. They have the coir industry. They have the fish, value additions, pickles, chutneys. They run provision stores. They run supermarket. And they run a big volume of business, which is known as others. It could be a photocopier, it could be a cake shop, it could be a coconut grinding unit, it could be a beauty parlor, and whatever you think of, anything which could be viable, which could have 3 to 4 members, could easily start a business. That's what we did. So, see, if you see the majority of the profile of these people, most of these women are they are not 10th grade pass. They belong to the category of 30 to 40 years. Most of them are into that particular category. And their education level was below 10. So we are reaching the most vulnerable group, that is middle-aged women who has got some kind of education below 10th, and they are all involved because they wanted to create an alternative livelihood, because post tsunami they understood that they couldn't get what they wanted. So some of the reasons why they wanted was alternate livelihood was one reason, financial support, kind of economic benefit, and some of the major reasons which we understood them was they were also finding 2 to 3 hours per day they could run a small business, and they could run the family business, the family expenditure to better appreciable levels. So these are some of the photographs of what they do. And what we wanted to know is, we wanted to categorically state whether such kind of groups are actively supporting their empowerment. So we started having 5 empowerment parameters: the social, economic, political, and legal and psychological, across different indicators, starting from better social status, interpersonal, and knowing one's potential across these 5 sectors. And we understood that during a period of 10 years, from 2005 to 2015, the empowerment has definitely improved. Now, the ex post and ex ante scenario indicates what was prior to joining SAF, and ex post indicate what has been their most important empowerment post joining this. So then we understood that in general, from a 49.2 empowerment levels, they have gone up to 70.8. Mostly this has occurred due to economic and social empowerments had been the major one. Being an educationally adept state with high level of literacy, we always expect that the political, psychological, and legal was also improved. So in general, the empowerment levels has been improved, which has been manifested by the different tests, which will be Wilcoxon and some others, which indicate that the women empowerment has definitely improved. And one significant thing which I want to stress at this particular point is, there are 28 to 30 women who are part of this particular SAF group are currently standing for election this particular year, which just commenced 2-3 days back. And during the last 2 terms, there has been 40 to 50 women who have been actively involved in the leadership and also policy making, and become corporators or ward councillors across a particular region, gaining sufficient social respect. So these are the kind of empowerments which they did. The economic empowerment, so they had more money. And when we talk to people, they tell that now there are cases wherein the women used to give loans to the husband. That was one great thing. And many of the time they don't get it, but even then they're happy because they're also able to contribute. In general, the household expenditure of that family was shared by 35 to 40% are currently being shared by the women. So when we started seeing how a successful group could be, then these are some of the parameters which makes them successful group. So it was also important that CMFRI need to understand, we need to bridge between the technology as well as the women. So we organized a lot of stakeholders conclave across the different places, and we started interacting. CMFR act as a bridge between the different technologists, technocrats, industrialists, and then we started supporting many of the things as a corporate social responsibility. So one additional thing which we did, what is known as a SAF activity group. This is a real-time data which indicates that if you want to locate a particular, we understood that marginalization could be prevented to a great extent by conglomeration of many of the activity groups. For example, if you have a marriage in Calicut and there are 5 to 6 catering units across SAF, then the conglomeration of these particular units would lead to a good catering company within themselves. So accordingly, many Apex federations were done. So this SAF activity groups is available in the SAF website, wherein people can go and check where these kind of groups are actively performing, the contact numbers. This also served as some kind of empowerment. And also when we started finding out the intricacies of SAF functioning, then we understood that the mission coordinators who serves as a bridge between SAF and the activity groups works need to be monitored, for which we develop what is known as the activity report management information system, which is also known as ARMIS, which indicates that how best a particular individual is working, and with the use of tablets, they were able to track down what they do, what are the benefits, and we were able to reduce the interim time between the reporting as well as the implementing time. So this is what we did. So in general, if you see what happened to SAF from 2015 to 19, I told you there are around 1,500 activity groups. The average sales turnover of individual groups from 2015 till 2019, if you could see, the total sales volume has doubled. So again, I tell you, this is not because of CMFRI. CMFRI was trying to document things actually and also providing advisories. So in general, because all these changes which we developed, of all the novel innovative measures which we use, in general, the business turnover has improved. And also you could see in 2015, an average group provides employment up to 10 days per month to women. Now it has improved to 20 days in a month. So it indicates that among a month, 20 days they'll be having. And also the average wage rate for 200 was 226 rupees for a period of 4 to 5 hours. This is not based upon 8 hours of man-day. So this takes 4 to 5 hours and they get around 226 rupees. So you could understand that the 226 rupees for 4 hours, 20 days leads to around 8,000 to 9,000 rupees per month for a total work time of around 120 hours. So what has the SAF groups been provided with? See, if you started talking the what is it SAF has generated is the decision-making power has been improved. There has been diversified options. The access to information resources have improved, better exposure, role in collective decision-making that compared to other groups, there were good connections between the leader as well as the follower in the group. Each group were running better. There was not attrition because of fighting within the group members, positive thinking, new skills, and also ability to change others' perception by democratic means. So CMFRI also does a support by whenever we are organized programs within Ernakulam, we always suggest that SAF activity groups could come and do catering business, or they can put their stall as a corporate social responsibility from our side. So these are some of the groups which are currently performing. And in addition, this is known as Tira Maitri, which we supported uneducated women less than 10th grade, and also were in the age group of 31 to 40. So in 2017, we understood that we need to reach more. Accordingly, we developed a new program, SAF, which was known as Tira Naipunya, which was basically meant to take the support of educated, unemployed, young fisherwomen youth. I can stress it, educated, unemployed, young fisherwomen youth who are mostly in the age group of 20 to 25, who might be married because of the social pressures within the fishermen community. So we did what is known as Tira Naipunya. We did 4 batches of this. And in these 4 batches, they were given 2 months of training, in which there is a phase 1 of inferential training through classrooms, where we provide them training across the different aspects of fisheries, across personal development. You take a topic and then we are dividing it. So around 100 lectures were given, 70 faculties from CMFRI. CFT was also part of it, and guest faculties. So we had a classroom sessions for 25 days. And then then we had provided them in experiential learning through institute training, because when a student joins, actually, they will be asking them, what is your area of interest? Whether you want to do studies, whether you want to complete your degree program, or you want to work in a firm. Some of the people will have completed BTech. Some might have done degree, graduation, BCom. Accordingly, from the experimental training, we have identified 25 training centers actually as a part of this relationship between CMFRI and SAF, and we provided training to these people. So after the training, most of the people we are getting employment, and these are the 4 groups of people who have been trained, and God willing, many of the people have been trained and they have been provided job. And for the last year, among the 120 people you have trained, 46 people are currently in job. Thank you all.
So thank you very much, Dr. Salim. Very good presentations, and you have rightly touched all the 3 components of livelihood security. That is the increase in income, increase in access, and reduction in the vulnerability. So this is the need of the hour, and association with the industry is also very much required. And without the association of the industry, it is difficult for the research institutions to put their produce or product in the global level in the marketplace. So thank you very much. We are running short of the time. So now over to Dr. Tanuja for the next presentation.
Thank you so much, sir, for throwing light on a model that could be replicated in other states. And I can proudly say that I was also a part of that SAF. I was a nodal officer for Ernakulam when I was working as the Assistant Director of Fisheries in Kerala. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for the crisp lecture.
God bless.
Next, we will welcome Dr. P.S. Ananthan, sir. He is a Senior Scientist, Agriculture Extension from ICAR-CIWA to deliver the lecture on the very important topic, policies and for mainstreaming women in fisheries. It will be impossible to bring about their envisioned social and economic empowerment. Hence, I welcome you, sir, to deliver the lecture.
Tanuja, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Thank you, and good morning, all. Good afternoon, all of you. I think probably everyone would be hungry because we are already well past the time, and partly my apologies. So let me make it quite brief. I'll just spend 5 to 7 minutes to probably summarize the key points instead of going into the details of the entire programs that are meant for women, as well as which are quite general. Okay, so I have with me Ms. Priyanka as well as Atufa, who also helped make this presentation. Yes, next slide, please. So briefly, first, let me spend a couple of minutes on fisheries policies and the legislative framework, and then after that, let me go into the programs. If you look at the earlier speakers have made my job quite easier. They have talked about various aspects, including the case studies and some models in Kerala that has worked well and created some noticeable impact at the target group, among the target groups, and also the general framework that is available about the status of fish workers or the fisherwomen in general, and the fisherwomen in Kerala and the coastal areas in particular. Then we also looked at the specific entrepreneurship activities. So all of them, this presentation can be. So I have skipped many of those aspects. When it comes to policy, fisheries policy, as we all know that we only had for quite long time the outdated, now the obsolete and repealed Indian Fisheries Act 1897, and now after only recently we have come out with a overarching national fisheries policy, which is still a kind of a draft at the central level. But then immediate in the preceding thing, if you see the contours of or the outline of this policy, you will have this is an amalgamation or integration of three policies that are partly in the making, and some which are national policy for marine fisheries 2017 is already there, and then inland fisheries and aquaculture policy that also was only recently notified, and then mariculture policy was being developed. So all these three put together, we have now national fisheries policy. This is quite comprehensive at the central level. Then we also have some components which talk in general about the National Policy for Empowerment of Women 2016, which is modified policy and updated one over the 2001 policy of the same name. So these two are very, very important when it comes to women empowerment at the central level. In addition to that, there are specific legislations that are in place, like National Policy on Urban Street Vendors. Then we have Street Vendors Act 2014. And then these two have come from the Ministry of Women and Child Development. And there are such couple of legislations that talk about under the Ministry of Labor and Employment, talk about the specific aspects of the women workers and the legal protections for women in the seafood processing sector. That is again the food processing industry talks about in its legislative framework. Next. Let me just quickly go through cover the some salient features in the National Fisheries Policy 2020. If you look at the overarching framework and the vision and mission statement, you will find that it is kind of gender neutral in a sense, though it doesn't specifically mention the word gender, but then the entire document has been prepared with lot of revision and consultation, and then the use of the word fishers and fish workers instead of fishermen and fisherwomen, which were in vogue for quite some time. That itself, though it is quite nominal, it does shows a clear departure from the earlier, I would say that gender insensitive terms by looking at being in align with the FAO and the international and global discussions that are happening. Next. Yeah, so this policy covers, these are all the major areas that this policy talks about. Here, there are a couple of aspects, while as I said, that the entire document is gender neutral in a sense. It covers both men and women that are there in almost contributing equally. Next, let's look at some areas where this post-harvest and the welfare, and when we talk about welfare, and also when there is a specific couple of paras that talk about gender equity as well as mainstreaming. Okay. So that is something, because if you look at the national marine fisheries policy as well as inland fisheries policy, there were a detailed section devoted to gender mainstreaming and equity. But when all of them were combined, now there is a mention about the importance of gender equity and the responsibility of the government, and also the legislations of the state that shall take into account the gender empowerment. So it has been clearly brought in, and it talks about the role in in fish processing. Yes. Next, and also the strategies. This policy talks about not only the policy framework, it also talks about how to implement that, the action framework or the strategies as well. But then, as you say, as we understand that the policy framework is only an intention, a statement of intent, it needs to be translated into actionable legislative framework with very detailed set of laws and bylaws and then guidelines. Next. Yeah, next. There is one thing, there is still, I would say that the one flip side of the current policy is that though it talks about the gender and the role, it probably still emphasizes, recognizes the role clearly in the post-harvest sector. But when we talk about if you look at their role in the inland fisheries, they are visible all through the value chain from harvest and pre-harvest. Okay, so even in marine fisheries, there are so many case studies which Dr. Nikita has highlighted. The role in both pre-harvest and harvest is also there, but then it is relatively unrecognized, and then policy also does not clearly recognize the role in pre-harvest and harvest, while it recognizes the role in the post-harvest sector. Next. Next, Priyanka. Yeah, next. Yeah. So the national policy for women, as you know, this is not specifically meant for women, fisher women, but then women empowerment in general. So it talks about the health, education, economy, the governance, violence against women, enabling environment. So which the major intention, it says that the purpose of the policy is to provide or create an enabling environment wherein women become equal partners of economic development. Yeah, yes, I think we can skip this. And some of the emerging issues that concern, that those aspects have been probably need to be taken when we are developing a specific legislative framework. Now, by constituting the interministerial committees and then the coordination frameworks, institutional mechanisms, now there is a greater synergy between or among several development departments. The gender budgeting, the institution of gender budgeting in all 20 plus central ministries and now increasingly in the state level ministries as well indicate that there is a clear move from mere intention to action. So because there are gender specific programs and are being separately budgeted, accounted and monitored. So that is a welcome departure. As you say, in this national policy for women, there is a clear recognition of the role in agriculture, including fisheries, and then it talks about Krishi Shakis. Next. Then another aspect which probably the national policy for women highlights, but national policy for the national fisheries policy does not highlight or give enough importance is this: the women collectives or the self-help groups or the cooperatives, the role of them in economic development are as a tool or as a way out for them to become economically empowered. That particular potential has not been adequately addressed in the existing national fisheries policy, which is otherwise is reflected in the national policy framework for empowerment of women. Next. This is, as I said, that these are all the urban street vendors. There is a policy which recognizes the fish retailers, the right to their livelihood, and also but then as the protest or the struggles in the Mumbai or in the coastal Maharashtra, if you see, they have the women retailers, the women vendors, they have struggled to establish their rights over land where the fish markets are situated, but still they have only half won. The struggle is not over and it is still continuing. It is because of lack of recognition of property rights for women. So which is one area where like only organizations like the ICSF, International Collective in Support of Fish Workers, and some of the policy advocacy groups, they are working on. Next. Next, Priyanka. Yeah. So this is again, this is a welcome departure. The street vendors and Act of 2014. Next. Yeah, next. I think we can skip. Next, please. Yes. So coming to the legal protection for women in the seafood processing sector, if you see, there is no a single thing, but probably when the state level legislative frameworks are made after the adoption of the national fisheries policy, probably there could be a set of guidelines developed based on the provisions in several acts which are amended or updated even till now or being amended. So because there are several, as you can see, these are all the acts which have something to do with the women working in the seafood processing sector, which has gone into a toss during this recent pandemic. Next. So coming to that is about the policy. Coming to the programs and schemes, I think the most of the participants are the students and then the faculty and the academics and the research people who are in research. So I will not go into the details of the programs, but then I will only highlight the type of programs that are available, because the Prime Minister's Matsya Sampada Yojana is again all the existing programs, several sundry dozens of programs have been merged and then revised, and a lot of new innovative initiatives have been taken up under this 20,000 crore program of the newly created Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry. Here you see that there are specific, some of the schemes are specifically meant for women, but whereas all schemes, there are provisions and enhanced financial incentives and subsidies for women beneficiaries. Okay, so we have in all sectors, in freshwater, brackish water, seaweed and mariculture cultivation, cold water areas, deep sea fishing, and post-harvest infrastructure creation, self-help groups. All type of programs that the women are being encouraged to avail, because they are being given increased incentives to take up. Next. Yeah, this is it. This is the budget, financial outlay under PMMSY. This is kind of an, it's being touted as the largest ever investment over a 5-year plan by the central government. Next. Yeah, so you can see these are all the list of programs that are available. You can see at the last column that the SC, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and the women beneficiaries, they would be getting for all schemes 60% of the total financial outlay as an incentive, whereas the men they would be getting 40%. So this is only to encourage the involvement of the economic activities, involvement of women in economic activities across all the projects. So this is this is one is the continuation of the earlier programs. The another one is that bringing about all programs irrespective of no assumption that only in some programs or the harvest sector the women is involved. So it encourages participation of women in across pre-harvest, harvest, and post-harvest sectors in all types of resources. So this is a major departure, a welcome departure. Next. And there are specific programs for women self-help groups as well. Next. Yeah, this I'll not get into the detail. Priyanka, can you go to the last slide? Yes. Let's just to sum up. We have a lot of programs, and that is a major departure from the earlier era. But there are a couple of questions that do remain. Okay, it is that, like, we all know that these programs and these policies are basically intentions, or rather what is there on paper, and what is the ground reality. As some of the speakers have highlighted, we have a mixed story where there are some success, and then mostly if you look at the women in fisheries, their condition is not that desirable. So we need to make a distinction between these nominal and real beneficiaries, because most of the programs, the men benefit, the women are being used as surrogates so that they get the higher financial incentive. So even many vessels are being owned by them even without their knowledge, because it's there in the name. So this is anyway is a better, it's better than where they do not even have that nominal right. But this having this nominal right is not the end in itself. So they have to become really empowered. So that could happen when they take up on their own and they involve in those activities, and then so that is going to take some more time probably, but then it is important that they are that we realize that. And the second thing is that now what we have looked at is most of them are centralized efforts and at the union government level. But as you know that fisheries is a state subject, and when you look at the experience of coastal states in India, the southern states, particularly the Kerala and Tamil Nadu, we have a lot of women-specific programs, very successful efforts. That has happened not on its own. It happened because of the organization and mobilization of women and the role of the cooperatives and then the advocacy groups, in addition to ICR and other fishery state departments. Okay, but in other states, say even for example, Maharashtra or Gujarat or even Odisha, Andhra, the similar kind of an organization or mobilization of women have not yet taken place to the same extent, though there are some isolated efforts here and there. So what is important, if you want to see real empowerment, there should be more efforts at the local and state level, and so that is important. So we cannot be complacent with the policies and the legislation at the central level. That is why, so we have, there is, if you look at the as a kind of a schema, there is gender sensitization to great extent, gender mainstreaming also is there to great extent. Everybody talks the politically correct terms now, but then we are a little far ahead or far behind, sorry, when we talk about gender equality or gender equity. So this is the kind of an question that I would like to leave all of you with. So we have moved to extent, but then we have not yet reached our destination. So thank you one and all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ananthan, for your nice presentations and giving a very good and elaborative idea about programs of the government. Actually, you are very correct that government has made various policies and programs, but what is the reality up to which extent it has been implemented at the grassroots level? So actually the thing is that the role of the government is to formulate the policy and programs, and the role of the grassroots level workers is to implement the programs. So there is some lacunas at the grassroots level that really it is not being percolated to the farm women. But in some of the state, I have observed that in the capacity building program and training program, now thus it has been mandatory that 30% women should be there in each of the training program. So once the knowledge will be percolated among the women, that is the most essential requirements. Knowledge and skill, if you will be able to promote among the women, certainly they will be coming forward, and then only this implementation and of these schemes and policies will be visible. So with these words, I would like again to thank you very much, and I hope that there is no time of the further discussion. And if the persons are interested, have any questions, Tanuja, you are requested to kindly give the phone number and contact number of all the speakers to the participants so that they can discuss directly. So, if it is nothing to say, then we can invite to Dr. ICAR-CIWA for further.
Yes, sir. I thank you, Dr. P.S. Ananthan, sir, for throwing light on the changing scenario that is happening, where the voice of women is being heard in the different government programs and policies. So, due to lack of time, so now I am requesting Dr. ICAR-CIWA, sir, who is the co-convener of the webinar, to deliver the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tanuja. Is it audible, Tanuja?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have come to the concluding session of this wonderful event. So at the outset, I express my sincere gratitude to our DDG and ADG, sir, because in spite of their busy schedule, they were having other meetings also, but they could find some time to participate with us. It is at the gracious presence, we felt very proud of their participation, as well as they were the guiding force also for all the programs of our ICAR-CIWA. I also thank our director who was instrumental. He always encourages more webinars to come for addressing different categories of stakeholders. Maybe some programs for farm women, some programs for research scholars, some program for line departments for gender sensitization, all these things. So I thank our guiding force, our director Siva, for always supporting us and encouraging us. And special thanks to the keynote speaker, Dr. C.N. Ravisankar sir from ICAR-CIWA, a very prestigious institute. 3 times it won that Sardar Patel Award. And during under his leadership, they got Best Agri Incubation Center Award also. So it was really nice to hear from sir also, because sir recently only returned from US, and when we called, immediately accepted our invitation to give the keynote speak also. So I also thank all the speakers, eminent speakers, Dr. Nikita Gopal, Dr. George Nainan, Dr. Shyam Salim, and Dr. P.S. Ananthan also, because they are the real experts, they are the best in that field. For this topic, none other than them could have given justice for these topics. They did their job very well. I apologize to Mr. P.S. Ananthan also, because it was our scheduled time was delayed, but in spite of that, he participated. He was on leave also, because from there he participated and delivered a wonderful lecture. And all the speakers, it was a wonderful presentations by Dr. Nikita Gopal on gender in fisheries, Dr. Nainan on agribusiness incubators, how we can give hand-holding support, Dr. Shyam Salim for alternative livelihood model, and finally the programs and policies by Dr. P.S. Ananthan. So it was a wonderful event. So I thank all the speakers. I thank all the participants from CIWA, as well as AgriPon Home Science from different states, as well as the research scholars also. Finally, thanks to the convener of the program, Dr. Tanuja, as well as Dr. Lipidas Madam, co-convener, and Subrat for supporting technically in conducting this event nicely. So I thank one and all for successfully concluding this program. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to one and all.
Thank you.
Nikita Madam, thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tanuja, so you can
yes,
end the meeting.
Can. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Shall we end, madam?
Yes, we can end.